Hey everybody, Derek here. Just wanted to jump in and give a little bit of a content advisory for this episode. There we do talk about themes with violence and suicide. We also talk about some real life murders that actually happen. So please be wary of that going through. We don't touch on them too hard, but it is there and I want you to be aware of it. Also, this episode does run a little long, so, make sure you listen to the whole thing. Anyway, stay spooky. Enjoy the episode. That was horrible. Okay, Isaac, are you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay. It's been 1 year since we started this thing. We started on a couch thing. We got talking about movies, and then we came back and did it all over again. We kept going all year. It's been one entire year. Can you believe it's been 1 year that we started doing a podcast about movies?
Yeah.
Hold it now. Watch some bad things, and we'll start things, and we'll look like Batman. Then we'll talk about a fat cat and a bad dad and everybody's favorite dad. Okay, I want everyone to know that before I did that really cringy moment, me and Isaac were like, wait, that's really funny. We should start that way. Okay, Derek, you take it because you can improv music. I can't.
But think about how much better it is if you did that instead of me trying to join in and say something.
That's true. If we said it at the same time, it would have been terrible.
We've had multiple shorts already that have happened where it's like Derek going off, doing some fun improv music. The music, not with Bonnie and George.
Oh, right.
And I mess it all up. I flub it all up. It's all garbage.
Man.
Musical improv is not my bag.
I mean, we
yes,
can start.
and don't be bland.
Don't be bland. We can start reminiscing now with. Let's just talk about how I loved. What is it called?
Kid actors.
No.
Damn.
Can't start the. We didn't summon the old ones.
We didn't summon the old ones. And see, that's
so
the prime.
good.
That's the problem, though. You were too good at your job, and now it's like, okay, Derek, you're the guy. You are the music guy.
I got up on
these things come up.
We have this bit where every time there's a rap or something, and even if I know it, if I say, "Okay, I got this,"
No,
I can't do it.
Absolutely not.
And that was a prime example.
We
of
need
that.
to use like reverse psychology, where it's like, okay, no, I'm gonna mess this up so bad. Don't ask me to rap.
Chickadee China, the Chinese chicken. You wear a drumstick and your brain starts sticking. This is just a normal song.
It's great.
You have
song.
a drumstick and your brain stops ticking. I said it wrong.
Have a drum. Gosh, it's right in front of you.
It's right in front.
Can't even get it right. Who's that song by?
Oh, it's Bare Naked Ladies.
Bare Naked Ladies. So yes, thank you for our rendition of 1 week since we started this podcast by the Bare Naked Bears.
Well, it's been 1
That's
year.
us.
Bare Naked Bears. That's a callback. Hey, I'm Derek.
And I am Isaac, and together we are
That Was Slightly Horrible.
Pretty horrible sometimes. This is a podcast where we do our best
At reviewing the worst in the horror
industry, movies.
community.
I feel like we had it a while ago, and now we've ruined it.
Well, there's something like really funny about us doing it wrong
every time, right? Yeah,
because
I think that's what has to be established.
it really does, because us sitting down and figuring that out is so stupid.
Yes.
The fact that we mess it up every
and
time
maybe
is
we
funny.
the only ones that enjoy it, but I get a kick out of it. But guys,
Laugh.
It has been a whole year. We have spanned we spun around the
we
sun
did.
one whole time.
The sun is gone.
The sun is gone. It is
It's
in our
actually
rear
black-
view.
It's a black hole now.
We're going into the future
Watch
now.
it come.
We're moon people now.
are.
We're werewolves.
So let us-
American werewolves in Paris,
London.
maybe.
Did you see
Whoa.
it?
Babe.
Oh my God,
We
Isaac.
swapped. I can't believe this.
Oh my gosh. So let's take everyone
promised I
back.
wouldn't cry.
So, I want everyone to close their eyes real quick. We're going to take you back.
If you're driving,
1
don't close your
year
eyes,
ago. Oh
but-
yeah. Well, you can.
If you're
but-
working with heavy machinery, if you're at work doing something, well, I don't know. If you're at work doing something lame, you can probably close your eyes. If you're driving, don't close your eyes. If you're babysitting, probably don't close your eyes either. Where else do people listen to podcasts?
running.
If you're running, unless you're a really good runner, unless you've ran this track
this kind of-
90 times.
That kind of goes for everything we just said. If you're really good at driving, you
Yeah,
can
if you're
probably close your eyes.
If you're an incredible driver and you can drive with a blindfold, then go for it. I dare you.
Listen, I've driven the same drive like thousands and thousands of times to get
True.
to work.
can probably do it.
Probably do it with my eyes closed.
Probably do it with your eyes closed.
That's a
So
anyway.
so
Let's
we're all
take you
closing
back.
our eyes. We're going
Okay.
back to so far back.
It's February 19th of 2023.
I was such a young lad back in the day.
You're like, oh, what's this podcast? That was horrible. Let me click on that. All right, guys. Hey, it's
Hey
me.
guys, it's us. Thanks for tuning in.
Yeah. How do you do a cold?
I think you just start actually.
Okay.
So I'm Isaac,
Anyway, I'm Derek,
and this is that was horrible.
Yeah.
Horrible.
and we petitioned to be on NPR, but we weren't boring enough.
Yeah,
we
they
were almost
didn't.
there.
So we were too interesting. So I think
So-
in another 63 episodes, we'll probably get a little more interesting. We went back and listened to the first episode.
We sounded like that.
I
guys.
didn't know how bland and lifeless we started out, and now we start out the episodes
So-
doing terrible renditions of 1 Week by the Bare Naked Ladies.
So if this is your first time listening to us, just go back.
Welcome aboard.
Just go back 10 episodes, catch up, and then go back to the top.
Yeah, I
because you
typically-
need to know.
I
what
typically
you're getting
don't
into.
recommend people start whenever I recommend a podcast to anybody. I'm not start at the earliest episode or
No,
the
no,
last
no.
episode, right? No, I like to go to the very beginning and see where they started and see where they've come. And we've definitely come a long ways
Yeah.
since our very first episode. So if this is your first time, welcome on board. We're happy to have you here.
Welcome.
Go check out the older ones. Just know it gets a lot better from there.
Well, and that's not to be said that we don't like our early content, because
It's great.
we wouldn't have our early content if we didn't like it, right?
We wouldn't be here
And we
were it
wouldn't
not
be
for that
here.
early content, right? Like you got to start out somewhere, and
Yeah,
we did.
we really did.
And Derek, thanks to
No,
you right
thank
now.
you.
Special thanks to Derek,
That's
my
me.
co-host of the podcast.
That's my last name.
For kind of making this podcast even happen.
Yeah, dude,
No
let's talk
joke,
about it.
it is something that we had discussed for a minute. We tried doing some other fun, we tried doing a little video game channel for a second that didn't really go anywhere.
I want to go back and watch those videos because I bet we talked the same way.
Well, maybe we did. But
hey,
the
jump-
thing about
jump,
that was
man.
we had listened to us. It was literally just footage of us playing a video game with our voices over it, right? With our good friend Seth. And we had the thing that I noticed when we were listening to them was I'm not appalled at listening to my own voice.
No,
I
me
actually
neither.
kind of like it.
Yeah,
and
it
I
was
found
fun.
myself just putting it on to listen to just because I liked it a lot,
Yeah, it was
right?
funny.
So that's when the two of us kind of started talking about I think we clearly can listen to ourselves and not hate it. We're our
Yeah.
own worst critic. I think we could potentially start a podcast or something, right?
And we were in the same boat for sure, because I was like, wow, there's definitely comedy chemistry here.
I think there was-
I was laughing.
Yes.
I was enjoying our bits. I was like, we could go somewhere with this.
There was a pocket priest. There was a little podcaster inside us both.
I'm inside of both of you at all times.
There's a little
my sons.
podcaster inside of us lying dormant and sleeping, waiting to be awoken and come to this beautiful, wonderful world of podcasting. And Derek awoke that within me, and I probably stirred
No,
it within
Pocket
him as
Priest.
well, right? And
Pocket Priest throbbed
in the
woke
both. Oh my god!
No, but it's kind of crazy to just sit back and look at where we were a year ago, right?
Yep.
We rewatched a movie yesterday,
Yep.
and this time frame in which we watched that movie was very similar to the first time we watched it.
Kind of funny,
Where
right?
Isaac had rehearsal that day. He was gone all day. He was very tired. He comes home. We watch Slenderman, right? And it was the exact same way.
Exactly, yeah, because yesterday we rewatched it after I had a full day's worth of rehearsal,
Yeah.
watched the movie again. We're recreating the exact same parameters
It
every
is.
time. It's kind of funny. But I'm sure you've already heard the story. We've talked about it a couple times, how, we came to the name for the podcast, right? It was a silly pun when we were talking about the horrible Disney live-action Pinocchio movie that they made with Tom Hanks. I
was
called it
horrible.
horrible, and we kind of said that'd be a funny thing. So Derek was the one that was straight up Isaac, let's just do it. Let's
just do it.
Let's pick up. So we kind of half discussed it, decided, okay, we'll start it with
Yeah.
Slenderman. That's one people know. We can start there and be pretty good. And then it just kind of sat there for a minute. And Derek was against all odds, he was hey, I know you're real tired because you're in the middle of a rehearsal right now. You have a lunch break right now, but you have enough time to watch this movie.
Let's do it.
Let's do it. And I was
Yeah.
all right,
Well,
sure.
And I think it stems a lot from in my I don't want to say later years, because I'm not that
No, we're
old,
we're
right?
in our twilight years now.
No, but I've kind of had this mental resurgence over the last couple years, and really over the last few months, right? Where I'm I need to just do things because life doesn't last forever, right? And maybe take this as you will, but that day I specifically remember being I have tried to start content and podcasts so many times. This is probably the third podcast that I've tried starting, and I mean it worked out this time.
Yeah.
Third time's the charm, I guess. I've actually recorded full episodes of other podcasts that have just kind of ended. And,
Right.
And so that day, I remember thinking, if we don't do it now, it will literally never happen.
And that's just kind of how it is. So, to all of you guys sitting out there who are thinking about whether it be a podcast or starting your own, Instagram account where you make and sell things, whatever,
Oh,
whatever
I see
it
what
is
you're
that you were
saying.
trying to do, right? Just do it.
Yeah, just do it.
Because the only thing that
Nike.
is stopping you from doing it is just trying. Even if
Yeah.
you don't feel like you're ready, if you're not in the right spot for it, you don't have all the the things
do
you
it.
want to make it what you want, start it out,
Just
man.
do it.
Because like listening to us back talking around the same one Yeti microphone, the audio quality wasn't fantastic. Our energy was pretty lacking,
What
I would
energy?
say. Exactly.
What energy?
We could have been on NPR. We were almost
really
there.
could've.
So it's like, just do the thing and something great can happen from it. And if not, you'll probably learn a lot. Because I feel like even though this podcast is still going and I'm very happy it is, I feel like through the year we have learned a lot, right? Like
absolutely.
we are still learning every single time we sit down to record this thing, right?
And I think it's a testament to our passion for like entertainment and just like keeping things going in the entertainment world for ourselves that we are still going.
Yeah.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Like there have been multiple times where we've been like, oh man, I can't record today. Like I'm so tired. Like there have been many times for both of us. And we've just like, since there's two of us, we're able to kind of push each other a little bit.
Honestly,
whether
though, we can
literally
balance it out.
or like mentally, right? Like I don't want to disappoint him. I don't want to like cancel an episode today, that kind of thing. And it worked out.
Yeah.
And now we're sitting here a year later, exactly to the day of when we first watched.
And it's still so much
Slenderman.
fun. And I think that is something that drives us no matter how we're feeling. If we're like having a long week, we're super tired, didn't get enough sleep, whatever there is, whatever stresses are going on in the life. It's like we sit down here and do this and it is fun to do.
Oh, it's great.
And there are often times
It's
where I'm like,
therapeutic.
and we've talked about it too, where we're like, I don't even want to watch the movie. I just want to do the recording.
Yeah,
part
that's
of
how
it.
I felt about specifically this episode.
Oh, yeah.
Because, we'd watched the movie before. so I was
Exactly, right? Like we were going into a movie, not only did critics say we're bad, but like we have watched already and been like, yeah, this movie is not a great time.
No. Well, and I guess we can say that now. Like we did. So we rewatched Slenderman.
Yes,
And
our very first episode, Slenderman.
I think that's fun. Like I think it's fun that we revisited the thing that started our podcast.
And especially since our format was wildly
It's so
different.
different, yeah.
It's crazy. I was listening to it today.
There was no format.
And I was so I don't know if I'm sad, proud. I felt some kind of emotion when 7 minutes into the episode, 7 minutes
We're already 11 minutes
we
in.
started actually talking about the movie.
Yeah.
We
And-
did not bullshit. We didn't do
No.
any. There were no bits, no nothing.
No characters.
No, we just said, "Hey, I'm Isaac. Hey, I'm Derek. We watched this movie. Okay, let's get into it
Let's
now."
get into
7
it.
minutes later, and now we're at like constant, like 40 to 50 minutes before we even start talking about the
And
film.
we were so well. I was more worried than you were. I was so worried about spoilers.
Yeah,
I was
exactly.
like, everyone is going to listen to this podcast and then go watch the movie. That was like my brain
And I
at
think
the time.
you kind of have to decide what kind of podcast you're going to be, right? Are you going to be
yeah.
one like we are now, where we literally break down the entire plot of the movie and spoil everything? Or are we going to be the type that talk around things? And I feel like, honestly, for me, I was like, it's hard to discuss and review a movie without spoiling things.
I agree.
There are a lot of things that is hard to talk about, especially since there's like really fun, cool things that I want to talk about in praise sometimes. And it's like, well, I can't talk about that unless I'm going to spoil the whole damn thing.
Well, and we've kind of settled into this like Mystery Science Theater meets Cliff Notes, right?
Notes,
Like,
right?
I think that's a great way to like describe us.
Yeah.
And we were not there. Even 10 episodes in, I don't feel like we were really in our flow.
No, it took us
And-
a second.
And now, though, it's like this is our stride, and I feel like we'll stay here forever because
No,
it's
yeah.
just like, well, we're going to continue to evolve, but
Yeah.
like, there's going to be new characters like High Horse.
High Horse.
He's only been here
just
for like
barely,
5 episodes.
Exactly
or
right. He
something.
just barely came up, and like he's we're loving him now. And like I think that is when I think both of us felt that when we started doing this podcast, and we were like, we're working towards something like actually. Like that is our own, you
Yeah,
know? Because I
absolutely.
feel like the first couple episodes was like kind of just us playing in the space, trying to figure it out, being
Yeah.
like, what can we do? What works? What is natural for us? What is not like forced content to be funny and like get people into the thing, right? And I
Yeah.
think it was when we started introducing really stupid characters.
Absolutely.
That we were like, this might be our thing. This might be what we do.
And I think looking back, we can't quite figure it out. We would have to actually listen to the first like 15 episodes.
Yeah,
to
if
really
you
figure it
know,
out.
chime in and let
Yeah,
us know.
But from what we can tell, Bawhead Bex was our first character.
yeah, episode 11 with Bawhead Bex was the first time we had like brought in, done a funny voice, and like stuck with a character that did reappear in
Did
other
reoccur.
episodes
Yeah,
too.
at least recurring characters.
'Cause
And then Count Trivia.
Okay, yeah, but now I'm almost certain that episodes prior to that, there were certain characters. I think Mermit, the Expectations Frog, was
was in there
was
somewhere.
was in the first maybe 10 episodes or so, but he didn't really stick around. Right, Bawhead
No.
Bex was like the first one that came and stuck around in that same episode. Yes,
Yeah.
So, Count Trivia was
Count
the one
Trivia was
also came
conceived.
back.
He
I
was
just like
born that day.
and I just wanted like a fun way to do the trivia at the end of it. I'm like,
I remember you talking through it.
I just wanted a little more energy towards the end there, especially since I feel like once you get to the end of describing an entire movie, you're a little winded.
Yeah.
I didn't want to be like, okay, so let's just talk about trivia now. So we're doing blah, 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 blah. I'm like, I thought it would be fun to just have an interesting character that comes in to bring the trivia. I just thought it would add a fun layer to the thing. In all honesty, I just really wanted him to exist. I just wanted Count Trivia to be real.
Yeah, absolutely. And then, I mean, with me bringing in Science Jim,
Yeah.
I mean, he was originally called Science Man Jim. He didn't appear until Ghost Ship, I think, which was episode 14.
Yeah.
Either that or Idle Hands. And I was doing the same thing where I like did that thing where I was like, I knocked on the door.
Oh,
and
yeah, come in. Yeah, exactly.
yeah, and he comes in and he's, hello, it's me, Science Man
He was
Jim.
such a different
something like that,
He
right?
was a whole different thing.
And then, like, over the episodes, I remember when I was really when we built his puppet.
Yes.
And I was really trying to settle on his voice. I was like going through and finding every iteration of him
I
to
think
settle on
once,
what voice I
once
liked.
we had made the puppet for it, I think that really helped you like cement like
Yeah.
this is what his
This
voice
is my
sounds like.
voice. This is me.
Because every time he came up, I think sometimes it was kind of unintentional. You didn't like prep it beforehand. Sometimes you did. You do like the research on that stuff. But sometimes it's honestly just like, here's a perfect opportunity to bring this character in, right? So like
science.
there's no time to think about what his voice sounds like in that instance, right? But so I love Science Jim. I think,
Oh, yeah, me too.
I love these two staples. They've kind of become like our two iconic characters of
They
this.
really
Like,
have.
I mean, we've made puppets for them, right? I haven't made puppets for like Tim the Timothy Man and what is it, Frankie Spider?
Frankie Spider.
God, I love
I
them.
mean, Frankie Spider went away and killed his dad, and then. But I think my favorite.
That's another thing. We keep sending them away.
Oh, yeah, well, it's easier to send them away and explain their disappearance later.
I mean, that's true though, because like I remember when we were talking about like Gooper was a fun character that I enjoyed bringing around. After like 3 times I used Gooper, I'm like, what else can I do? All he is a gross guy that likes slime. Like,
And
what
then
can we
he
do with this?
Became a creature with Bawhead Bex,
And I think
now
that's
they're having
probably, and I think
children.
that's another thing, right? Like Bawhead Bex was also like just kind of just this meathead,
no idea what to do.
who
with that
just
guy.
yells in the background.
screams
So
in
we're
the
like,
background.
let's just shove these 2 characters together and hope something comes of that.
But
I
think
liked that.
I really like being a characters podcast, though. I think
love
that
it.
It's different. I don't think I've ever really listened to a characters podcast.
Right,
before.
right.
Like we're kind of one part sketch comedy and one part horror movie.
It's
and
great.
Cliff notes and I think that we've really reached something magical here.
Yeah.
And I'm really happy with
Yeah,
it.
no, it's so thanks for sticking around. It was 1 year ago. I mean, technically we were recording today on the 18th, but we so like we actually won't be releasing this episode until the 20th. Would that be right on that
the
Tuesday?
20th, yeah.
So a day. So tomorrow, technically or I guess yesterday, if you're listening on the day this was released, will be 1 year. And it was exactly 1 year ago, sometime around this time, that Derek came in. He was like, Isaac, quick, she's having a movie.
She's giving birth. Oh God, what is it? It's Joey King. Pull her out.
It's Joey King. Pull her
Yep.
out. She's crowning.
Oh,
George!
it's crowning. Get it?
George, it's crowning because she's a king.
That's also
Joey
fairly
King,
new.
ding,
I
ding,
think
dong,
it's funny
dong.
how many bits we do that are like fairly new. Like, do you want a box? Oh, I'll give you a box. I'll put you up under my horse.
It has kind of become like our filler, like our elevator music in this podcast is just the Seinfeld theme. I wonder, we got to get like royalty free Seinfeld theme music. What's that?
That's elevator music.
That's really nice. Yeah, that's good. Yeah, I love this song. Yeah,
It's Lean on Me by The Pretenders.
Oh, I'm on my floor. Okay, I got to get out on here. I'm in the studio
Pretenders?
now. Hello, that was Horrible Industries.
Who wrote that song?
Look at you. Who Lean on Me?
Bill Withers.
Bill Withers.
Yeah, Bill Withers.
Bill Withers.
I said The Pretenders. I don't even know if that's a real band.
Let's look this. Are the Pretenders real? Did Derek just make up a fake band
Wait,
right now?
no. They did. They
Okay.
did 500 miles. Didn't they?
Okay.
Nope.
Nope.
2,000 miles.
2,000 miles.
I've gone so long without Steve getting mad at me for.
Music is a big one for sure. We got to make sure we do this right.
It's funny. Whoa.
Yeah.
Apparently
what's up?
they like killed people who were in their band. It's
Whoa.
fine. So
okay. Moving on.
movie.
Movie.
Another. I think we need to thank some people. I think that it's our year anniversary. Like let's go down the line. Like there's some people that have really really supported us. I mean, obviously Emily.
Yeah. Exactly.
Like she's been a huge supporter. She's our
She's our producer.
Like
We've had several people like listen and just like people just come up to me out of nowhere and say, "Oh, I really like this episode that I listened to." Like my one of my coworkers, Kanisha, she listens like every episode, and it's always so fun to have her like come up and be like, "Oh, this thing you did," or like, "Oh, I listened to another episode," or like, "I was happy that like she usually does like an opening shift at work, right?" And it's like, "Oh, I was happy to have this while I open in the morning," right? Like
That's awesome.
So cool to have that. Like
That's
I have a couple
awesome.
coworkers. I have got like Riley and Abby. They also love to listen to the podcast.
so
So like
cool.
they'll come up to me at work and like with a headphone in, they're like, "I'm listening to you right now." And it's fantastic. Like I love that. And then all of our friends, Seth and Courtney and who are our other friends.
Well, I mean, we have Spencer. Spencer's been a huge promoter of us.
Honestly, though,
like,
thank
really
you for
big.
all of your support there. Absolutely.
Steve, my father-in-law, we bring
Yes.
him up all the time.
He's
That's
come
what
up a lot.
segued into this.
My friends, we got friends of the podcast, Maddie and Josie, who have done like some fun fan art for us too in the past. Tevin is loved to listen to
what's
it.
up, Tevin? Jack, I know you're out there.
Jack, you're out there. We love to see you out there.
Cameron's out there.
Cameron's listening
out
to
there.
the podcast, right? Dallin is listening to the
Yeah,
podcast.
Josie. There are Jocelyn.
Jocelyn, yes, Jocelyn, absolutely.
You said Josie, and it confused me.
I have a Allie. There's an Allie out there who listens.
Are we listening?
I'm not going to dox by listening last names.
Single person.
Every
that
single
listens to our
person who's
podcast.
ever listened to the podcast. Yes, all of you.
I'm so sorry. Trey.
Trey,
what's up, Trey?
Big fan.
Thank
Thanks
you
for
so
our
much.
friend Seth bringing him in. Darian, my good friend from way back when. Thank you for listening. Like all of you. Thank
Lauren.
you. Lauren, we're going to keep remembering all the way through. I promise we're not forgetting you. It's just suddenly we are on the spot right now, and I'm like, what is happening?
Well,
it's like that, who's that guy? Is it Billy on the Street?
Yeah, Billy on the Street.
He like runs up to a girl with a microphone. He's like, name a woman, and puts in, and she can't.
Fully.
Yeah, I can't. When you sit here and you're like, shoot, what is happening? Hold on. Let me think of every single person who has listened to this. All of you. I mean, my family, my sister, Lexi, brother Eli, mom and dad. Thank you all so much for listening and tuning in whenever you have chosen to.
I feel like we just got an award.
We just got an award. Thank you all. Emma too.
Yeah.
Emma's so kind to like share our posts too to her like feed that is very different from our steez here on this podcast.
Yeah, it's awesome.
But we got an award. It's a year. We crossed the finish line here. We passed 3,000 downloads on this podcast.
Oh my gosh, I know.
That's nuts.
Yeah. Oh yeah. We should mention that we hit 3,000 downloads.
Like just before we got
just on like Spotify and iTunes and stuff like that.
Yeah.
That's not including YouTube, which we've had a pretty big increase on too.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's like pretty awesome.
It's
I never
nuts.
thought we would hit that milestone ever.
Yeah.
So the fact that we hit it is pretty incredible.
And
if we didn't mention you, like that doesn't mean we don't love you.
No,
it's just like these are people who have told us and like come to us and talk to us, and like if you're being quiet out there, that's great too. Like
That's
we
all
love
right.
that. I love the support.
You can be a silent listener, and we support, and you support us, and we support you absolutely.
That's true.
I do want to mention the fact that we've got some incredible fan art that has come through.
Oh
Just
my
like
God, the
to
fan
mention
art.
some of them. We've got some. I remember, like I'm just going off the top of my head of ones that I know. For instance, for my birthday, actually, just like a month or so, a little more than a month ago now, Tevin, he drew me like a nice little birthday card that had some fan art of Count Trivia on the inside of it.
It's
That
so
was super
cute.
sweet of it. My friend Josie, she drew a picture of me with a shirt on that said I shot Jim Davis and all I got was this stupid shirt. That was incredible.
Courtney made this like super cool GIF of us,
it's
like
kind of incredible.
I don't even know how to describe
She's a
it. Like getting
stupendous artist.
electrocuted,
Yeah, it's like
basically.
this like cool dark background. It's got our name, or it's got our title in big red letters, and it's got our two faces like staring off into the distance. And underneath, there's like this cool like neon glow of our skulls that kind of
yeah, that's a better
flashes
way to
on
put
the
it.
inside of it. Super cool.
Super
Maddie
dope.
has made a ton of fan art for us. She's done like recently. She's done a couple really cool ones where she's taken characters that either we have brought up in the podcast or remind her of us. So like there was one where she did like Robin Hood and Little
Yeah, I
John
like that
from like
one.
the Disney one with the fox and stuff, like where it's the two of us and it's got like the That Was Horrible shirts on. Another one with like Gonzo and Rizzo from the Muppets in a theater watching a movie.
Okay, but who's Gonzo and who's Rizzo?
That's what I was wondering.
Think about it.
I think
It's obvious. It's right there.
is it really
Everything
that obvious?
you need is right there.
Everything I need is right there. But see, the thing is, for fashion's sake, I feel like I'm more of a Gonzo. But Gonzo is very funny, and I feel like you're the funny guy here.
Oh, I think you're 100% Rizzo.
Am I Rizzo? I can
Yeah,
be
but
Rizzo.
like not because of comedy, because like it just makes sense because you're terrified of rats.
Because I'm a little rat.
And I'm scared
a
of
little guy.
I'm scared of like curly phallic noses.
Yeah, and
So,
I'm from
like,
Brooklyn. It's me, Rizzo the rat.
It's me, Gonzo. Wait, that was
That's
almost
not bad.
there.
All right, let's do the rest of the podcast now. Yeah, so it's me, Rizzo the rat.
Camilla!
Gonzo!
Camilla!
Gonzo, what are you doing over there? Get back in here. We got to make a podcast. I'm gonna pull you in with all. I'm gonna pull you in with all my Riz because I'm Rizzo the rat. Do you think Rizzo has
what?
Riz?
That bit is gone.
It's gone. Gonzo. Remember when we had special guest Lex Hogan on the podcast?
Just about to bring that up.
We were talking about Gonzo's girl.
Gonzo girl.
What other there are
Other fan
other
arts?
fan arts. I mean, Maddie also made us cute little friendship bracelets. That was
so did Tynan and Madison.
Tynan made them for us as well. Like, thank you to them, and yeah, thank you to Tynan as well,
Tynan for
another
coming on the
supporter.
post show.
Yes, coming on as a
And
guest.
speaking of which, the first episode of us on the post show launched today.
It's out.
So
Yeah,
you can go check it out, listen to us narrate and be spooky.
super
Pretty
weird.
fun.
It's a very different vibe than what we do here on this podcast, but I think it's wonderful. Incredible
You can
music,
look-
right?
the music is really, really good. Listening to us narrate and be characters. Isaac is an old man in this specific episode.
Yeah,
of it. It's really funny.
I got real nervous. Like, there's
Do your old man voice.
as
Give
an
him a little taste.
actor, I'm like,
he doesn't
I
want to.
can do voices, I can do accents, I can figure them out. For some reason, old man is one that I do not like to do. I am not
your fear
very
of
good at
aging.
it. I'm terrified of it.
It's- you-
I'm so scared. The older Derek gets, the more afraid of him I get.
You get old too.
The older I get, every time I look in the mirror, I go, ah!
I found a
jump-
gray hair the other day.
A jump
I couldn't
scare.
believe it.
Oh, God.
I had to put my cigarette in it. Cigarette in it.
Stick around on it.
You know, one thing. Okay, I know we tangents all over the place.
It's
but
all
It's
over
a
the
celebration.
place.
It's a party.
That's our whole thing.
One thing I noticed listening to our earlier episodes is specifically me, how much more comfortable I am in my own words.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I used to stutter and like kind of trip over my words a lot, and I still do it occasionally, but like no more than like a normal human. But like I
Yeah.
feel like back in the day, it was like a real struggle to get words out, especially when reading.
Yeah.
And there was like a lot of fear about that for me, like a lot of self-conscious like feelings that I had to kind of get over. And I feel now so confident. And when I trip over my words, when I trip over my words and I don't know what to say, I just look in the future
Derek
and
I am
don't
Isaac, and here we are doing a podcast
me
with
on.
you now. We have lots of
rapping
fun
now.
telling scary stories. So thank you all for being here for 1 year. None of that rhymed, but there were
No,
there
it's
were words
good.
in it.
I felt like you were flow riding.
I was flow riding all the way from Florida. Was this movie filmed in Florida at all? Like, can we we pretend?
Do you want to try and segue?
for the sake of a segue?
Well, I don't feel like we're gonna have like a normal amount to talk about this movie because it's like we've seen it before.
Yeah, I
we
guess
have a whole episode
that's
about
fair.
it.
Yeah, while the format has changed, I don't know how much different there is to say about it. But I mean, like, we can get into that, But let's segue. Let's flow right on down to the lovely land of Garfield, talking about bits that are different now. Like,
Stop.
we did not. I never intended for Garfield to become an official, unofficial like this character on this
He's
podcast.
our mascot.
He's like kind of our mascot.
No offense, Science Jim. No offense, Count Trivia.
You guys are wonderful.
Gar-
You're our original IPs. We will
Gar
always
Man-
own you.
The Gar Man has taken over. Big Monday came in. It swept our hearts away. We're hooked. So, Isaac, I need you to do something for me, though.
Yeah, what's up?
And everyone at home, do this too if you can. If you can't, like, it's fine. We'll
Again,
kinda
unless
just
you're
give it.
working, you're driving, you're babysitting, you're working with a baby. If you're a baby that's working, definitely don't do that.
So go. I'm worried about Jim Davis.
Okay.
So go to February 12th of 2024 on Go Comics Garfield.
Go Gomix.com. All right.
And don't-
February 12th. Here we are.
Now hit next.
Next. Here we go.
Yeah.
Doop. We're on next. So now we're on the 13th, right?
Yeah.
Can I take a peek, please?
Yeah, just take a little look, but don't read it. Just,
Okay.
Just take a look. Now hit next.
Huh.
Just do it.
Now, hold
Just keep
on.
going.
Something is happening here.
Yeah.
I'm already
We're
I'm-
leaving everyone in suspense.
What is
Okay,
something is happening?
Something is wrong, and I need you to
Don't tell me to push next, Derek.
Push
Derek,
next.
look at me.
Push
Derek,
next.
Don't ask me to push next.
push next.
Derek. I can't.
Isaac,
I can't.
push
I
next.
can't push next, Derek.
I-
I'm gonna. Don't, Derek. Don't push next. Oh my! It's still. What is
And
happening?
I'm just gonna go ahead and push next one more time because.
What is happening?
And then
Jim
just
Davis
maybe
is
one more
not
time.
Okay.
So, if you've been following along at home, if you've been pushing next, you may have noticed that
What is going on?
every day for the last week of Garfield comics, it has said "worst nightmare ever" as the final frame.
They're all 3 panels long,
Yep.
and they all end with Garfield waking up from some dream, some nightmare, and he has worst nightmare ever.
So,
For days in a row.
It is literal 5 days in a row.
He is living
One
in a
whole
hellscape, this nightmare world. What is is he
We
okay?
need to talk about Jim Davis
Jim Davis,
because he's living his worst nightmare right now.
do you think I scared him by threatening to shoot him with my shirt?
And that's why I brought you into the studio today. You may have noticed the armed guards outside. Now, don't.
I thought we were
about
just
that.
buffing up security. I
No.
didn't. Am I in trouble, sir?
Jim Davis has filed some complaints with you.
Oh, geez. Okay. Wow. I'm so sorry. I don't know. No, please. No, sorry. You go. I'm doing a lot. I do this when I'm nervous. I'm sorry. Am I sweaty? I feel like
You're
I'm sweaty.
incredibly sweaty.
Do I look sweaty? I feel very sweaty. Yeah. It smells
Jim
pretty bad.
Davis.
Huh? Maybe I should get out. I smell stinking up the place. I should get out of here, right?
If you try to run, the cops are going to grab you, and you're going to force feed you lasagna forever.
Yeah. I'm here. Okay.
No, but it's crazy. Like every day for the last week has the same end panel. It's funny. It's honestly like really hilarious.
It's funny, but also a little terrifying.
I'm kind of worried about Jim.
And what are the themes here? Like one of them, he's scared about. Like it looks like a dog was
becoming
elected the
mayor.
mayor. It's looking like John is replacing his lasagna with kale and tofu. There's another one where there's the news. There's a dog demic that is spreading nationwide, where
And
everyone
everyone
is
becomes a dog.
turning into a dog.
Yeah.
Like it's all. He's got some fears and these things going on in the world. Another one where his teddy bear is talking to him. Like it's a little scary. Well, there's a big thermometer in one of these ones.
Yeah, that's he's about to get a rectal check.
So, this is really like a Garfield horror scope, emphasis on the horror.
Actual horror.
This past entire week, where Jim Davis is living the horrors of life.
Do you know how hard it was for me to not tell you about this until right now?
Is I don't even know if I can say it's hilarious. I'm almost like sincerely
scary,
worried
right?
for Jim Davis. Jim Davis, if you're listening, I hope you are well. I hope you are sleeping better and dreaming of anything else.
I hope you're not having any nightmares anymore.
I mean,
it seems like the nightmares have
it seems like the nightmares
ended
have stopped, right? Because
this
now
February 18th.
we are sitting here February 18th. Right? Yeah.
Yeah.
And so we have a new comic, not a nightmare sequence. Nothing is happening there. Shall we discuss our Garfield horror scope for this?
And let's just kind of put the nightmares behind us. And let's focus on the 18th of February.
Exactly.
For our horror
It's a
scope
brand
today.
new day, a brand new week. You know, it's time for us to put those horrors behind us and come into this new week. You know, and let's see what's happening here,
Yeah.
huh? So do you want to pick a character here? Maybe.
Yeah, I think I actually want to be Garfield this
You want to
one.
be Garfield this
Yeah,
week?
I want to be Garfield this week.
Yeah. I get you. So I'll be John. There's only the two of them in this week's podcast, right? So you want to start us out with Garfield here?
Yeah, so Garfield is sleeping peacefully, and he wakes up to John's coffee and goes and takes John's coffee and leaves with it. But something else is happening throughout here. He is spouting Shakespeare. Everything he says, hark, what smell through yonder doorway breaks? 'Tis it coffee and John? Is it the brewer? No. Oh, good night, parting is such sweet sorrow.
That's straight up Shakespeare right there.
It's beautiful.
Brevity is the soul of wit.
Yeah, exactly. And let's just talk a minute about Garfield stealing from John.
Yeah,
okay?
it's theft. It's real theft.
Now, in Garfield's mind, this coffee was for him. And he took that coffee
that is rightfully his.
That is rightfully his, and it brought joy to his day. Now, I see this as maybe don't get stuck in your head and feel out the things around you and understand what is being given to you and understand what you are taking away from the world.
That's fair.
Don't jump to conclusions, because if you're jumping to conclusions, you're going to hurt somebody like John.
Yeah.
And even if you're doing it with catchy Shakespeare, like, it doesn't matter. You're still stealing from the man.
It is still theft at the end of the day. If I go into a bank and I'm robbing them and I say, forsooth, thine yonder money bag, please.
Thine yonder money bag.
Thine money bag is the east, and my car is the sun. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
And I feel like John and Garfield are kind of one and the same in this situation, right? Where it's like, don't go jumping to conclusions and stuff. You don't know who you're going to hurt. He is not. He is clearly bothered about the fact that Garfield has taken his coffee in this situation.
Yeah.
But he's not going to stop it. You know, he's kind of like, a little bummed about it by the end frame here. But I think he's like, maybe he needs it more than I do, maybe it's not worth getting into a whole thing about, if Garfield is going to great lengths to come and steal this coffee from me, clearly he needs it more than I do.
Absolutely.
And also maybe he's realizing his power as the god in this situation where he's like, Garfield cannot be making the coffee. Garfield can't do that with his little kitty paws, right?
No,
he doesn't know how to
can't.
make a coffee.
He
has to rely on John for all of his lasagna needs, right?
Even
So I
though
think
Garfield has fingers.
even though he has fingers in this, but still, he can't make a coffee, not on his own.
To steal or not to steal?
To steal or not to steal, that is a question. Whether it's coffee or in the mind. But so he's like, I can go.
Beans of your misfortune.
He can go and like make another coffee. It's really not that big a deal. He doesn't seem like he's in that big of a rush, So just like think twice, before you want to like jump to that angry feeling with another person, right? Like think about their situations. There's two sides to every story here in this situation,
There's
right?
two coins to every story.
There's 2 coins to every. The 2 coins of Verona is You think they go dropping those coins in the pool?
I want to.
Or do they go dropping mice into pools?
Oh my god!
Oh my!
That's a callback.
How many callbacks can we fit in this one episode?
7. So do you think that there are 2 coins?
Yes.
Okay, Romeo and Juliet, right? What if you had like a dime
2
and
coins,
a nickel?
both alike. Yes.
You're just both of us are just trying to think through every Shakespeare.
How many
we know.
Shakespeare references do I got up in there? Not as many as I'd like.
No, yeah. Oh, that's funny. I don't have anything else to
That's
say about
it.
Garfield.
So before we run away from Garfield, this has become a new shtick. I did want to. We don't have to get so in depth on this one. I did want to see what the Garfield comic was for the day we released our very first episode, though. So hop in the time machine, kiddos. It's us in the magic time machine. We're going all the way back. Woo! And now we're back to February 19th of 2023.
Hey guys,
so we got 3 characters here in this comic here.
Do we Derek from a year ago?
Do we even want to? Oh, sorry. Yeah. So now we're. It's this kind of represents the energy from both of them, right? We have Odie, we have Garfield here, looking a little sad.
Yeah.
And they hear the ding of the oven,
and all of a sudden they're happy now.
And they're like, "Oh yes," but then what is it? John.
It's preheated.
John tells them the oven has been preheated, and the pizza will be ready in 20 minutes. Ugh. And then they go back to their situation, and this really like demonstrates how we were before. We had this potential. Our podcast was preheated.
Our podcast was the preheated oven.
The idea of the podcast was preheated, right? Yeah, that was horrible. Let's watch and review the bad horror movies.
We were so excited.
But now we're here today and we say there are no bad movies. So less great horror movies at the time.
Yeah.
And let's that is the idea. That was the preheating, right? And it took us. We are 20 minutes later. An entire year. 20 minutes is a year for us in Garfield years.
Mm-hmm.
And now that was our energy at the time, and here we are today, and we're much happier, much more energetic. I don't know where I'm going with any of this.
Hey, it's me, Tim the Timothy Man. How's it going?
Oh, Tim, you saved me from a dead bit, but I still don't love seeing you.
It's been a while. You guys kicked me out of the room. You don't like me anymore. You replaced me with a horse.
I mean, Derek seems to like you, I think.
I didn't kick you out.
Iris, did you invite this man into the studio today? Is that what you're up to?
Clip clop.
Clip clop. He's got a catchphrase. He's not actually clipping and clopping. He says those words with his horse
He actually
mouth.
has human feet.
Oh,
all right,
no.
So
No, we can't. I cannot allow High Horse Palomino to have. I retcon that so hard.
I have 4 big human feet.
He can wear shoes that look like people feet.
I wear Crocs.
That's fine.
Oh, wait, no. Those toeless Crocs.
No, you
Those
don't.
with the toes.
Absolutely not. No, you can have Crocs, and that is all I want. That is all I will allow you.
I built my own shoes.
Oh my god!
Get out of here, Iris.
So
anyway, it's
Tim
me, Tim the Timothy Man.
It's been a second.
Yes.
What can I do for you?
I just wanted to say hello and maybe give Derek these cards. Oh, thanks. Okay, bye.
Okay, thanks.
Oh, he's got some stuff about the podcast.
Oh,
yeah. What do you think? So we're gonna ask you a couple questions here, Isaac.
Me?
Derek did some research. I mean, you can have Count Trivia answer if you want, but
okay.
But so. When we launched on February 19th, and we launched all 3 episodes at the same time.
Right.
Well, the first 3 episodes at the same time.
Yeah.
They technically went live on the 23rd, but they were like uploaded on the 19th.
I get what you're saying. Because I specifically remember you had finished like putting together our episode, and you were like, "Oh shoot, I posted it."
Yeah, I posted it, but no one saw it because we didn't like advertise it or
exactly
anything.
right. Because like the advice that I've gotten, maybe advice I'll give to any of you who want to start a podcast, maybe is that make for 2 reasons: make a couple episodes before you post and start telling people about it. One, to see if you have like an idea and a concept you can do for multiple episodes, because I think that was something that stopped us in the past, where we were like, yes, we've discussed we want to do a podcast at some point, right? But then we were like, what's an idea that we can push forward for so long that has a lot of longevity to it, all that kind of stuff that we enjoy and won't hate, right? And so like, do a couple episodes for that reason, but also people enjoy like having something to listen to a couple, right? If you're like, hey, I have a podcast episode to go listen to, not a lot of people are going to tune into it. Yeah. But anyway, so yeah, that's that story.
So how many episodes do you think we have total? I mean, we talked about it. We have 62 episodes total, and that's including this episode. I mean, not including this episode.
Right, okay.
So we technically have 63 episodes.
Right, and so that's including all like the specials, the not-so-horrible episodes, all that stuff.
So we have uploaded 63 things, including this one.
Right.
In those episodes, not including the first 3 episodes, what episode do you think is our most listened to episodes?
Oh, boy. Can I get a couple here?
Yeah, of course.
I want to say...
Well,
like,
do you want me to give you a few?
Yeah, so give me some.
Your brother is a werewolf.
Okay.
The Doctor is in.
Really?
Christ is New York.
What?
Or Children in the Weed.
Oh, I'm really actually surprised I know Who Blew Me is not in there.
I
but,
know. I'll tell you exactly what episode that is. Too.
Is it?
I have them all ranked.
Is it Christ in New York?
Christ in New York.
Oh, for
Christ
real?
in New York is our 4th listened to episode. And it's a pretty substantial difference between them. And that was our 27th episode we watched of The Omen.
Wow.
My theory about that is that it has Christ in the name.
So we're bringing in the religious folks?
I think that, I don't know. I feel like it's like a recognizable name.
In our next year, are we going to become a very religious, very zealous podcast?
I guess so.
Join me in prayer, my brothers.
You were bringing up I Know Who Blew Me.
Yes.
That episode is 26th.
Really?
Yeah, so that was our episode 19, and yeah, it's ranked 26 as far as like how many people have downloaded.
Wow, okay, jeez.
But if you look at it on YouTube, it is our most listened to episode.
Yes, that one had a lot on YouTube
because
for some
it's
reason.
Sexual.
Because it's sexual. And if we learned anything from movies in the 80s and the 70s, sex sells.
Sex
100%.
sells.
That's what's
Sex
happening,
sells.
right?
Where do you think, other than America, other than the United States, is our most listened to country?
Whoa. The only one that I know of consistently is there's that one man or individual, I guess, somebody listening to us from like Germany.
Yep.
Is that it?
Yeah, and actually that does round it out. So yeah, we have a pretty consistent listener in Germany. Hey, German listener, we love you.
Thank
so
you,
much.
German listener. Fun fact. This I don't know. This is creepy to mention. We can see when episodes are listened to in different countries. So not to stalk or anything like that, but like we're very happy and appreciative that somebody in Germany is listening to us, right? So we gave you a shout out in an episode, and I think it is the only one that does not have a listen in Germany.
Yeah, it was like you skipped that episode for some reason, and I like kept checking because I was like, yeah, he'll see it. He'll be so excited. They'll be so excited. And then, yeah, nothing.
Yeah, so anyway, sorry to everybody else who's listening. That was just for that one listener. But anyway,
everyone
thank
can
you.
Start listening again.
Thank you to you in Germany for listening to us for some reason.
So currently Europe is in 2nd place, followed by Asia.
Interesting.
Yeah, we've gotten up quite a few listeners.
That is astounding to think that somebody in Asia would bother to listen to us.
Yeah, a lot of
doing our little thing here.
We have someone who pretty consistently listens in Singapore and the Philippines.
Wow,
so
cool.
It's kind of cool.
Thank you all. This is just—it's so neat.
We have
to
more
see.
like one episodes here and there, but those are like the consistent.
Yeah,
ones.
exactly.
I thought that was
tracks.
kind of fun to talk about.
That's so wild. That's so fun, though.
Yeah.
Guys,
how many minutes do you think we have recorded and uploaded for this podcast?
Oh my.
So,
oh my.
Yeah, I did the math.
Ooh, jeez. Ah, man. Like,
here, I'll give you some numbers.
I just
I'll
don't.
give you some numbers.
No, just let me pull it out of nothing. It's like in the 3,000s.
4,300.
I was pretty close.
Pretty
That's
close.
not bad.
Yeah. So in the 62-ish, 63 episodes, we've recorded 4,300 minutes of podcast.
Wow. And then in a couple years, we'll have about 525,600 minutes worth of content.
Yeah.
And it will take an entire year for you to get through all of our content.
Oh my God, you're right. And then we can sing rent.
Rent.
So that equates to about 71 hours of content.
Wow.
So we've got about almost 3 days.
That's
worth of
insane. So
content.
if you're looking to marathon this podcast, just sit down, you and your headphones, lock the door, no one else can come in for 3 days. Your parents think you're dead inside of there. Honey, it's been a couple days now. Are you okay?
I just can't stop listening to Mermit. I hope nothing happens to Mermit.
Mermit says you must listen forever. This is where I went. I'm keeping your listeners hostage, and I'm making it so they listen to the episodes.
Did you? Were you able to pull up your notes from the last?
I wasn't. I
You
could
couldn't
not
find
find them. It is one of the only episodes I cannot find my notes for it.
Damn, that's really sad because I found my notes from the last time and they are just.
What did you think, huh?
They're just weird. I said weird things like, "Oh no, I choked myself." Slenderman's
I know
into
exactly when that
hentai.
is. Yeah, that makes sense.
I don't even know.
I'm trying to find ones that like don't make any sense. Like, what the hell is that? But like that tracks.
Yeah, no, this is actually, these all make sense. Dang it. Well, thought that was going to be funny.
We weren't funny back then is the problem.
Well, we were funny, though. Like, that's the thing. I still kind of find myself chuckling at things we said in that episode.
No, I definitely still enjoy listening to it. You know, I just don't think we had like really leaned into the horror, the comedy horror aspect of this whole thing.
No,
because I think we were trying, like, we took it very seriously. You know, we were very worried about doing it right and doing what we were supposed to, all that kind of stuff. So we didn't just kind of let loose and bring forth characters like Bawhead, Bex, and Gooper.
And when we let go, man, we let go.
Man, when we let go, things happen.
Man.
Crazy things happen.
And now I just talk into this microphone like it's an old friend. It's
Hello,
great.
old friend.
Aw,
It's
old
good to
friend.
see you again. We see you every week now. And we're going to continue to see you every week. Forever. Just like the Slenderman. When you call to him, you see him for the rest of your lives until he gets you.
Are you doing a character? Or are you doing something? Can we?
It is me, Count Trivia.
Oh my God. Hello, Count Trivia. It's so good to see you.
And I am leaving now because that man is here.
Why doesn't Count Trivia like Science Gym?
They
I
got
don't
beef,
know.
okay? Listen, it's got
Tell him I'm a vegetarian. I'm not fucking scared of him.
greatest line ever written. It's one of those things where it's like the when the oldest child, when the parents have a baby and then suddenly they're not the favorite anymore, right?
That's
Because
true.
like technically Count Trivia is older than Science Gym by like three episodes,
I know.
right?
He
So
tells me every day.
he's the elder child, and so I think that is probably why he is not the happiest with you.
Guys, I'm tired.
Are you tired? You doing okay?
It's been a long year.
It's been 1 week since you looked at me.
How many times you can make that bare naked ladies joke? God.
As many times as I can, so long as it's not a bare naked bears joke.
Science Gym, I have a question for you.
Okay, what?
How come you don't tell us science facts anymore?
I think it's because you got lazy and stopped looking things up.
No, it's because there hasn't been anything to talk about.
Okay, that's fair.
Yeah, see, that's fair. Honestly, like, you know, you're slacking. You know, can you give us anything else? You know, you got any other bits you do, or like what?
No, me and Matt Jane are back together, though.
Okay,
We
good.
worked it out.
All right,
She heard the last episode and thought I was really cute and handsome.
I'm glad because you were coming off a little desperate in that episode, so I'm glad that worked out
Apparently,
for you.
that's her kink.
Oh,
I think
okay.
that's why she broke up with me.
Because you were not desperate enough.
Yeah,
Okay, so the desperation is really what she's into.
yeah.
I hope that works well for you, Science Jim.
Yeah, she gave me a math job yesterday.
Oh.
Go home.
Bye. Goodbye, Jim. Maybe forever. It's time to make a new puppet. Let's make a puppet for High Horse. Can we bring High Horse in instead?
What's up? How's it going? It's good to see you.
It's me, High Horse. Yesterday, my girlfriend gave me a horse job.
It made me hoarse.
That's why my voice is always so hoarse.
I'm so horsey.
Tap dancing with his Crocs.
Oh my God. Hey, who's this? Who's walking into the studio? Hey. Oh,
Hello?
wait, shit. I didn't ask you. What are you drinking?
What am I drinking? I'm drinking a lovely beverage here in my lovely Garfield mug. That was a gift from Derek here, and it's Do you hear that, Derek? Do you hear that?
Hello.
It's the voice from the shadows.
It's me,
No,
Bilbo Bartender.
It's Bilbo Bartender.
Yes, do you remember what I drank you today?
I don't remember what you drank me today.
you for coming into the studio.
Drank you for coming. Oh, that's
I do
pretty
comedy
good.
now.
That's
I've also evolved.
That's
just
not
like
bad.
you.
We had an opening recently. Science Gym is kind of on the chopping block right
do
now.
I get a puppet?
You could get a
Will
puppet.
you make me a hobbit? Make me one big foot.
Oh.
But
I
not
don't-
not Bigfoot though.
I-
One
yeah.
big talking foot.
Maybe we'll talk. We'll get in with the design
Okay.
guys and talk about that one.
No, I think that
Tell me what.
I think I am actually a fully grown adult male.
Okay.
Wearing a large cloak, but underneath the cloak
Uh-huh.
is something mysterious.
Yeah, it's one of those where it's like you got like the big like hat and the collar turned upwards and there's just like darkness
Yes.
with these peering eyes from the
Yes,
inside of it.
dude.
I mean, I don't. Why am I telling you this? I'm just
You
telling you
know
how
what
you
I
look.
look
Of course,
like.
yeah. I'm just describing
No,
it to you.
thank you.
I'm describing it so the fan artists can have fun
Yes.
with it.
I have 84 teeth, each one bigger than the last. And
Okay.
my nose.
Does that mean
is
like they get
3
really, really
inches
big, or they
long?
start really small?
That's up to you.
Does it get longer when you lie about?
You can
the
only
drinks?
ever see 10 teeth. So think
Where
about
are
how
the other
small
74 teeth?
74 teeth are.
Do you have like open your mouth?
Ah.
Okay, no. Okay, so there's like rows of teeth in there.
There are
That's,
many rows.
that's
I
terrifying.
call them my cornrows.
I just don't think that works. Your teeth aren't yellow enough to be corn.
Well,
So will you tell me about what's in this drink, Bilbo,
you're drinking
please?
the Slurpee Slender,
Ooh,
which is
Slurpee Slender.
1 ounce of a coconut, freshly ground.
Okay, this is sounding. Hey, you're starting pretty normal. You're on a good roll right now. Okay, just like don't put any more
3
people inside of
fingers.
it. Okay, okay, I'm gonna be sick. Oh.
Then the flesh of 1 whole Slender Man. This was pretty hard to come by because he is a
Yeah.
internet crypthead.
Crypthead? No, it's a cryptid. You did like I asked you to look for a cryptid. I didn't ask you to go to Ted's crypt.
No, it was
Did you
fun.
put Ted inside of this drink?
He said he was slender when I asked him.
He's a skeleton. Of course he's
He
slender.
was
What do you want from him?
screaming.
So what you got in this drink here?
And a banana. Soupy
Yes.
twist.
The scre-
Goodbye.
The screams of a man named Ted from his crypt. He was slender, and I took his fingers. And
And
also a banana.
This is basically a pina colada.
It's a pina colada, but it's very tasty. I like it. It's very
You
good.
mix a banana in it.
It's very, very good.
Ah.
Nah, man.
Nah,
Nah,
man.
man.
Man, dude, we
Uh-huh. Yeah, what's up?
have so many bits.
There's too
And I
many
want-
bits.
I want to remember them all. I'm happy we're doing shorts now because I feel like that like really highlights some of our
It
best
helps
bits.
us remember them, yes.
Like kid actors, man. I was gonna go
Oh,
through and put
man.
together all of the all of the verses for kid actors for this, and
Uh-huh.
I didn't have time.
Nope.
I was so busy. I'm really sad. Maybe next year.
Yeah.
When we had like 18 more episodes.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean,
we're only going to do 18 more episodes in this next
meant
year. We hit it hard with
versus.
63 the first year. Next year, we're going real lazy with it.
no, that's not happening.
No, we're not going to. We're going to make just as we're going to do even more.
We have
Maybe
so
not,
much like
but
momentum.
maybe the same amount.
We have so much momentum. There's like no stopping us now.
No, you couldn't stop us if you tried.
It's like when a train. So anyway, let's talk about Slenderman.
What? You know when trains? You know my favorite things is like when trains.
Yeah, it's like when a train.
We're train guys now.
Yeah, so like I like trains. Do you ever? What's up? Nick? I need everybody to like come with me. Real
Everyone, we've been having a lot of fun here, but it's time to get real.
Okay. The year is 1998.
I remember it well.
You're 8 years old.
I was
I
not
was
alive.
not 8 years old that year, but just like
I wasn't
work with
alive, but I was 8 in this story.
Were you not? That's
was
weird.
not.
Don't say that.
No, God.
All right. Anyways, you're sitting in your basement.
I'm in my
home.
basement.
You just got permission to play the PS1. And
Wow.
you're so excited. You sit
This
down.
is fantastic.
You
It's the
pull up
best
some
day
games.
of my life.
You start going. You realize halfway through playing a game that you don't want to be playing games right now. You want to be playing with model trains.
Whoa.
Okay.
Couldn't be me.
You stand up. You go into the storage room. You're searching everywhere. What do you find? Big old broken down briefcase with some train tracks in it.
Oh,
So what do you
boy.
do?
We're
You
going
build
to build some trains.
We built some trains.
We're building some trains.
trains. I don't know where this bit's going. I wanted to like reminisce about when I was a kid.
Did
and
you
I
have
thought, this is actually like
literally
a true
your
story.
experience?
Yeah, and then I like found this like train set, but it was like all broken and kept electrocuting me, but I was so convinced it was going to work. And then I don't know, still to this day I'm not completely sure it was an actual train set.
That's how he ended up the way he did. It's electroshock therapy that gets him that way. He's got a little-
train car.
electro train car therapy.
Monorail. Okay. So
Everyone hop on the monorail. We're going to movie town.
Whoa, wait! I just realized what monorail means.
One rail.
One rail.
It's just the singular. They don't need two of them.
I can't be the only person in the world who does this. That is not. There's no way.
But the funny thing is, like, you do this often, right? Like, we'll have bits where we're like, oh, it's a sub and it's your way. It's Subway,
Yeah,
right? But the funny thing is, it's like only maybe a year or two before you brought it up, I had the same epiphany. So, like, I have had these experiences.
So you just no, but you guys do that, right? Like,
Totally.
when you're sitting there, like, I remember the day I figured out what a convertible was, and I went, "Oh my gosh, it's a convertible vehicle."
No, it happens to me every damn day of my life where I'm like, oh, I'm stupid. I don't know anything about anything.
Slender man. He's a slender man.
He's a slender man.
Oh my god.
God.
What the heck? Huck?
What the heck? We're censoring ourselves now. What the heck?
I was a little worried about last episode where I said fuck like 18 times.
So you gotta,
in 5 minutes.
retroactively fix all of that stuff, right?
Bink.
Derek, so you were, about how old, I guess you don't have to tell me this. How old were you when, like, the Slenderman craze was hitting things? Or, like, in what grade were you in?
Oh, I think it was in high school.
You were in high school?
I think so.
I want to say I was probably in, like, probably 6th or 7th grade, probably.
The only reason I say I was in high school is because I was in, like, you know how growing up you, like, change which bedroom you're living in?
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
whether
yeah.
you're moving houses or something
It's
like
a
that.
big deal. It's a big step. Little Derek, pop, he's stepping up in the world. I'm a big boy now, Mom, and get the big boy room.
I specifically remember moving into, like, the downstairs basement back room that was, like, where all of my older brothers lived until, like, they moved out, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So, like, it was the cool bedroom.
And before that,
Had
you were
a
living in, like,
carpeted
this,
wall.
like, yeah, ooh, okay.
Yeah.
Very 70s.
It was awful.
You're living in, so before
that wall's still carpeted.
Before that, you were living in, like, the other corner of the basement. There was, like, a completely concrete room. There's just a single light bulb dangling in the middle of it, swaying.
It was like a
side
broken
to
down
side.
cot that was, like, barely even fabric. I was falling through it.
Yeah,
it was really
just
frustrating.
Like one
sometimes.
singular stool in there. You decide if it's the chair or the poop.
And, like, I would, like, have I would have my leg, like, laying on it, but sometimes my foot would, like, fall down between the springs.
Oh,
and, like,
yeah.
get caught between the two springs, and it would, like,
it'd
kind of
poke you a little
metal
bit.
would, like, poke my my heel.
Ooh,
you know?
yeah, that's messy.
I mean, everybody's been there. I think we're all.
I think that's what happened. That's what happened to Achilles in his heel. He just, like, his ankle went through the box spring.
This conversation is so confusing that if it was real, it would be able to burn a cup of ice water.
What?
I don't know. It was a comment I read on the Slenderman wiki.
Oh,
okay,
God.
so
But no, what I was going with.
Oh,
is,
yeah,
like,
you're going somewhere.
Tell me about, like, your.
Oh.
Do you have any history with this creepypasta whatsoever?
yes. So
Like,
I
do
mean,
you remember the days?
I do. I actually really do. My first experience was that, like, Flash game. Was it even a Flash game, or did you download it?
I think you downloaded. I think you downloaded it for sure. I remember specifically because I did not have a good computer that could run anything really, so I couldn't play the game.
Yeah, I mean, I had, like, this little crappy laptop.
Yeah.
And on that laptop, I was able to run it. And I remember talking to my friends. They're like, guys, it's really, really scary. You got to check this out. I was like, okay. But then it started, like, being like, oh, this is, like, a real thing. Like, it was, like, trying to, like, make people believe it was real.
Right.
So I was trying to do that thing where you would, like, summon him and, like, get him to come in. And I regret that.
You were, like, actually trying to summon the Slender Man.
I specifically remember one time
trying to pull like a Bloody Mary in the mirror, right?
Yeah, because I turned off the lights and I sat down
like, what is dictate exactly what it took to do this at the time.
Okay.
Because I never did, like, a trying to summon the dude thing.
So I think someone was playing a prank on me.
Probably, definitely, absolutely.
Because I played the game and it scared me. And then I was talking on Xbox Live to a few of my
No
friends.
one on Xbox Live is to be trusted. They're all screwing your mother, and they're all better than you at video games.
It's funny though, because I actually met a few good friends on, like, playing Halo 3.
Okay, some good people come through on Xbox games.
No, but it's true. Like, so me and my
I'm sure
real
it's
life
very
friend
true.
met a bunch of people that we still talk to this day.
Are they the ones that pranked you?
I think. Well, I know who did it.
Okay.
We don't need to talk about that. I don't talk to him anymore. But
Yeah.
but I remember sitting down and he was like, check it out, dudes. Check it out. Annoyingly enough, this same person stole all of my Team Fortress 2 loot that I had when I remember it was specifically when, like, you started to be able to sell it for real money.
Yeah.
And so I traded it all to him. Turns out it was about, like, $300 worth of Team Fortress 2 stuff. And he gave me a $20 Xbox Game gift card so I could buy Darksiders 1.
You got gypped, my man.
Yeah, I regret that.
You've been robbed.
Because it was $300 at the time.
Yeah, exactly.
I've been playing Team Fortress 2 since it launched.
I was going to say, $300 today is a lot of money.
Yeah.
But, imagine that, whatever that may be.
And and those items have gone up in value. Things have changed. I remember a couple years ago, I went back.
You
and looked at,
you were sitting
one
on
of them.
you were sitting on a gold mine.
I know.
Derek.
You think cryptocurrency is big now? Team Fortress 2.
I know, it's like the modern day, burying your gold in the backyard. It's I got all this shit in Team Fortress 2 worth millions of dollars.
I buried my laptop with all of my Team Fortress 2 stuff.
Honey, you told me it was a foolish attempt to bury all of our money in Team Fortress 2, but look at me now, sitting on my mountain of gold.
No, but I remember I sat down and I pulled up my computer, I turned off the lights, I opened the blinds, and I lived in the base. It was a basement room, so I had a little window well, and you could kind of see out the top of it.
That's definitely how we can tell you lived in Utah.
It was all dark.
Because window wells just aren't a thing in other states.
That's right.
Not all of them, at least.
Well, it's because everyone keeps people prisoner in their basement.
That's
Utah.
fair,
So anyway, dark. No, so I remember I pulled up my laptop.
Yep.
I played through the game. It scared me. And he's like, "No, you gotta try. You gotta try actually summoning him, dude. It's so cool. He appears outside." And I was terrified. But I was a little kid. Well, I don't know how old I was. I'm feeling like I was more middle school.
Okay.
age.
Yeah.
But again, I was playing on Xbox, so I don't know. It doesn't matter.
Somewhere young enough to be naive enough to buy into it,
I
right?
was 16.
Yeah.
Yeah, 16 or 17 sounds right.
So were they there with you? Or were they instructing you over Xbox?
Over Xbox.
Okay, yeah.
And
so you were alone doing this.
So he sent me a picture, and I looked at the picture of it was the one with a field, and there's people around, and then off in the distance you see the tentacles. And
it is kind of
Slenderman.
it's kind of funny how in this movie in Slenderman they do utilize some of the actual pictures that were from the original creepypasta of it all, and you can tell which ones they made for the movie. It was funny how quickly I was like, "That's a real one." I remember because I saw it.
Exactly.
And those images, when they scare you at a young age, really, really stick with you.
Absolutely. So anyway, I looked at that and I was like, "Slenderman, come to me! Slenderman, come to me!" or something like that.
Yes.
And I chanted it over and over and over. And then I'll never forget this. My lights flickered.
Stop.
And
that's real life. He wasn't there to do this.
No, he wasn't. And I don't understand why I didn't bring this up in the last episode.
Yeah.
I think last year I was listening to it and I was like, why didn't I tell that story? And it was probably just because we were nervous.
Yeah, I guess
We were
that's fair.
First time podcasters. But I remember the lights flickered and then I closed my laptop very quickly.
Yeah, of course.
And I think I just turned on the lights or went upstairs or something. And
How were you? Were you thoroughly spooked, or were you
yeah.
well,
Are you
that's
fucking
weird?
kidding me? That's terrifying.
Okay, yeah. What? You just seemed like you were like, well, I'm gonna shut this now and go upstairs
Whoopsie.
now.
Run to Taco
Saw
Bell.
something I shouldn't. That is a little eerie. How that's a little freaky.
Yeah.
Something was messing with you.
And I don't know. Time changes, right? Time changes memories.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
I wonder how much of that actually happened to me,
Right.
or how much my brain is telling me.
I
That
feel like I have a
happened to me.
lot of experiences
You know what I mean?
that, but I love the thought of little Derek's being like, "Come to me, Slenderman."
Oh yeah. Well, I've always been scared of this little spot in that basement where I was walking through there one time as a kid and the power was out and I was walking through with a flashlight. I needed to get a roll of toilet paper. I specifically remember this. And I looked into one of the pantries and there was a pair of eyes looking back at me.
Oh.
And
oh no!
Yeah, it's the
I'm
scariest
out.
shit I've ever
Done.
seen. And
I'm
I
out.
I ran upstairs. I didn't even get the toilet paper. I
Good.
was very upset.
Screw the
I
toilet
probably
paper.
didn't poop again, honestly.
Nope.
And
he still hasn't to this day.
and to this day, even going back to my parents' house, going back to the same, I
As an
cannot
adult man,
go down there in the dark.
Those things, they stick with you. Absolutely.
But I wonder how much of that actually happened to me.
That's
right?
true.
I wonder how much, were there actually eyes there, I'm tangents.
No, please.
There was a time when I went outside and I looked up at the sky and there were some clouds that were turning into smiley faces.
Whoa.
And I'll never forget all of the clouds turning into smiley faces. And I started to cry and ran inside.
Well, that's terrifying. I think that is one of the first things I would do if I had a time machine. It wouldn't be like, let's go to the future and see some cool stuff. I would want to go back to these events.
Yeah, you're
and
traumatizing
see,
childhood events.
and just see how much of it actually happened that way, right? Or specifically those really spooky ones where I swear things happened, right?
Because I remember I was Why do I tell things like this on the podcast?
What if that's what's happening? What if it's time travel? You from the future is going back in time and flicking the lights on yourself trying to summon Slenderman.
Well, when I was looking up, oh my God, you're right. When I was looking up and seeing all the smiley faces, I was looking up because I was throwing markers in the air, pretending that they were fireworks.
Were you sniffing these markers?
Well, probably. No, you never did that? You have like
High
big
on
buckets, big buckets of markers, and you just threw them in the air.
I mean, I don't know if I'd say markers specifically, but kids definitely just throw shit in the air and just pretend it's fireworks. That makes sense.
Okay, thanks for the validation.
Have I ever told the story about when I was a kid and I tried to like summon the lizard man in the backyard of like my grandparents' place? I was a fiend when I was young for like looking up things on the internet that my parents said not to that I thought would be like that I thought would scare me. And I'm not talking about like, explicit content that parents are trying to keep you from. Not even anything like that.
Porn's gonna scare you.
Oh, scary porn, boobs. No, but I remember like one of my earliest memories was when my dad said I couldn't watch the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, right?
Yeah.
So what did I do?
Of course you're gonna look it up.
Instead I go to the family computer, Google it online, and scare the shit out of myself looking at Leatherface. And Leatherface is still, to me, because of that like trauma that I gave myself, it's still the scariest like horror villain to me. Like
That's
he is
awesome.
absolutely terrifying to me for so many reasons. It strikes pure fear of that like innocence in my heart. Like that is what it strikes into me.
Oh God, it's Ed Gein. He just walked in.
Oh God, it's Ed Gein. God, don't do that to me. God damn it. No, but so I would do that, and then so there was a time when I was super into like cryptids. I don't know why. It was like I saw something online that was kind of spooky of it. I think Cartoon Network was doing a show about cryptids at the time too.
Weird.
Yeah, it was like some weird like this cool family that like hunted cryptids, but not to kill them. Like, I don't know. I can't even remember what it was. But anyway, so I was kind of into the idea, right? And I was into the Lizard Man specifically. It's the Secret Saturdays. That's what it was. Yep. Very short-lived cartoon. I never even actually watched the thing. I just saw commercials for it.
Fun.
Yeah. But so it was so stupid of me. I had my grandparents' house was this big old house, and there's like this big, like huge field of a backyard in the back of their house, and on the edge of that field was just a straight line of forest, right?
Oh man.
So what I did was one day while chilling there with nothing else to do, none of my other siblings or cousins were around, I decided to get on like my green swimming trunks, my green flippers. I put on this like I had a bicycle helmet that looked like the head of a dinosaur, so it was green with these big yellow eyes on top of it, and to further this awful like cringiness, I was like, I need more green because the lizard man has to recognize me is what I was thinking.
Of course.
So I went in the bathroom and they had this green hand soap and that had like little bits of sparkly stuff in it. So I straight up took it in my hands and slathered it all over me.
Oh my God.
Not a lot, but like enough that I'm like, okay, this is my natural camouflage. So then I'm like walking out. I can't imagine how stupid I looked walking out in this green getup, trying to make myself look like a lizard person. And I walk out to the edge of this forest and just walk the perimeter of it being like, lizard man. Like that was me. That's what I did as a kid.
That's fantastic. Instead, I was just depressed.
Yeah. but so like as to go to the Slenderman thing for me, I never tried to summon Slenderman or anything like that. I do remember being very into the idea of it because I think even from a young age I really enjoyed things that were spooky, that go bump in the night, that give you that kind of adrenaline, right? I mean that's why either of us are doing this podcast now. I think both of us kind of enjoyed that stuff, right? So I had really enjoyed his whole aesthetic. I remember there were a couple years when I was trying to plan together like how to do a Slenderman costume for Halloween. Like I was pretty into it, and I didn't really get much further than that. Definitely didn't try to get him into my life for sure. I think there were a couple nights where I had to go to mom and be like, hey, I'm scared. She's like, what the hell is the Slender Man? Shut up. No, just kidding. My mom is very nice, but it spooked me for sure.
It was 2009 that Slenderman was created.
Okay, so I was 10 when that was created.
Yeah. So I was probably like 14, 15, something like that.
Some math.
Yeah, so I was about right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was about right. Man, that's crazy.
Yeah, so we've gone on long enough. We've gone much further than our 7 minutes that we have allotted for this.
I think it's fine. We're reminiscing. We're having a good time. Let's talk about Slenderman.
Do you remember when we used to give ourselves a timer for when we would talk about Garfield, and now he's like a part of our whole thing?
Garfield is in me.
Garfield be with you. So yes, please, let's talk about Slenderman. For all of you who are here banging down our doors, dying to hear about this movie we've already talked about.
I mean, I don't know. This is an episode for us.
This is a fresh spin on it, too.
Episode we do is for you guys. This episode has been for us.
This one's for the boys.
Thank you for bearing with us.
Here.
as we talk about it. So Slenderman 2018 was directed by Sylvian White. I'm back. Whoa.
Here we are.
Deja vu. Holy shit.
This is I got chills just barely.
I mean, yeah. It was written by David Burke and Victor Surge. Victor Surge is also known as Eric Knudsen, who was the creator of Slenderman back in 2009.
Who was actually, it's not like they're just using characters written by him. He was actually like used in the process of making this movie, right?
He was, yeah.
Yes.
He was kind of a consult. I don't know how much trivia you have on that. I actually learned a lot.
I don't actually have that much trivia on this man.
So I'm going to kind of go into this a little bit then. I'm sorry if I kind of talk over some of the trivia.
Oh, you're fine. Go.
So in May 2016 is when this movie was kind of like all put together.
Right.
There were actually a bunch of different entertainment companies brought together to produce the film. Okay. Then in 2017, it got a new director. The producers were all kind of starting to get done. Bloody Disgusting actually reported most of this.
Okay.
Screen Gems required the producers to reach an R rating. Okay.
Oh.
So they were pushing really, really hard.
I've never seen something like that. Usually it's always like, well, let's make it like a PG-13. It'll appeal to more people, blah, blah, blah.
Yes.
That's interesting.
But after revisions of the original script, they said, never mind. They got new producers and needed it to be PG-13.
Whoa. So do you think they went too hard with that? They said, hey, listen, guys, they really want it to be R. I mean, we kind of got to go the whole mile,
Remember
right?
how I was freaking out over something this morning?
Yeah.
I found the original script.
Oh,
I found the rated R script.
How did you...
It's online.
Did you sacrifice someone to Slenderman or what? Like, how did you...
It is so different.
Really?
It is so different.
Would you say it is better?
Yes.
Really?
I would say they need to remake this movie with this script.
Really? Okay.
Yes. It is much better.
It doesn't like go too far, do you think?
No.
Okay.
And this is the revised script. So
Okay.
I think that I don't have exact timelines, right? I wasn't there. I don't know what was going on, but I have the original David Burke script that then got revised once by Mike Scannell.
Okay.
Who is nowhere on any of this. I haven't seen his name at all. I don't even know who this man is.
I guess they kicked him out.
At first, when I was reading, I actually read the entire script today.
Okay.
At first, when I was reading through it, I was like, well, this is just a different movie.
Really?
At the beginning, it talks about like 7 girls who went missing and no one ever saw them and they got murdered. And it talks back to that multiple times through the movie.
Okay.
And I was like, well, I'm just reading a different movie.
Yeah.
And then it's all the same names and all the same characters.
Okay.
And it hits like the same story beats. There aren't anything like completely wildly different.
Right.
And I'm going to follow along as we do what's it called? Spark Notes.
Yes.
As we do our Spark Notes. And I'll kind of chime in on things that were more gritty.
Okay, yeah.
One thing I thought was really funny, this script says the word shit like 80 times.
Whoa, okay.
But the movie didn't swear like at all.
No, it didn't really pull it out that often.
But I thought it was funny. It's like, we're going to make a rated R movie. Shit.
Yeah.
Shit's the way
That's
to
the
do
way
it.
to do it. Yeah, just throw like 90 shits in there and we're good.
Yeah.
That's how you get it.
So when the movie was done, when it was filmed, they cut so much from the movie. And I'm sure you're going to talk about that in trivia, but it's obvious. I mean, you feel it as you're watching the movie.
Yeah, it feels a little clunky there, especially towards the end when you're like, feels like something is either poorly made or something is missing, right?
But what I'm really happy about is I found the script. I can kind of fill in some of those gaps for us.
Interesting.
I had a little bit of like fun this morning.
We're putting these things together.
This is something I wish I found last year, but I didn't know existed. And Scrippy Scripto actually gave it to me. Oh yeah, here, see, I did it. You had that whole bit with me playing Derek, and you forgot. Yeah, sorry, man. We went over time a little bit.
Yeah, sorry, Scrippy Scripto. Next time.
I guess I'll go fuck off then.
Next year, okay? Just maybe less shits next time. Like, okay, sorry, Script.
So this movie had a budget of 10 to 28 million.
Somewhere in there.
You don't know. It's one of those. And it did actually come through getting $51.8 million. So it made money. Some reason.
It's never made sense to me why like you don't know the exact like budget for movies sometimes. I think there's actually reasons behind them sometimes.
Oh yeah.
Like for instance, the latest what was it? Godzilla -1.
Yeah.
The director of that one literally came out recently. He was like, I don't want to disclose how much I did that movie for because apparently It had a big budget, but like less so than you think. There's like almost like indie level thing, even though the movie was fantastic in every aspect.
Oh, for sure.
But he said, I do not want to disclose how much how like the budget I had for that movie because I don't want other people to come to me and expect me to make a movie for that much money.
Yeah, absolutely.
I was like, that's funny, actually,
it's a pretty
right?
good producer tactic.
Yes.
To like, I mean, it's the same reason you don't want to tell someone how much you're making if you're like applying for a job or something.
Right, exactly, right? Because they're like, oh, then they'll know they can hire me for this amount, right?
Exactly.
So, that's smart on their end. So it makes a little more sense to me now after hearing that.
The Rotten Tomatoes reviews for this movie are at 8% and 16% for the audience.
It's rotten, guys, for sure. We checked. We double checked.
We triple checked.
We triple checked. It's
we want to read some reviews for this?
Still rotten. Oh my goodness, yes. Start us out. Do we have a critics consensus?
Well, I did want to mention the Letterboxd is at 1.2 and IMDb is at 3.2. Isaac Carrillo gave this a half star last year.
Oh, is that
and
right?
I gave it a star and a half on Letterboxd. So we'll see if those changed. The critics consensus, Slenderman might be thin, but he's positively robust compared to the flimsy assortment of scares generated by the would-be chiller that bears his name.
You know, that really, really tracks for me there. Let's start in some of these critics reviews. There's so many rotten ones here. I'll start with a positive one here. It's by Jorge Loser. Says, hey loser, says Slenderman deserves an opportunity to be seen as a respectable horror film. Full review in Spanish. And I don't know about that. Maybe it's better in Spanish. If we watch this again next year, let's do it in Spanish.
I tried to, but nobody laughed at my joke.
Derek tried to do this bit. There was also a lot going on when we tried to watch this movie. But he did this bit where he put the movie in Portuguese and then added the subtitles in Japanese.
Yeah.
Is that right?
It was Chinese.
Chinese, yeah. So yeah, two completely, it was just, you couldn't follow it at all.
I was laying on the ground laughing my ass off.
Derek was having the time
it was like,
of his life.
What's funny, Derek? I'm like, just watch the movie. Just watch the movie.
Because he didn't want to tell anybody. He was like, no, you'll see. Just wait. And then that's it.
And then it wasn't even funny.
Everyone just kind of turns and looks at him.
Javier Ocana with a positive review says, a ready universe for daring and fears, for the adolescent contagion of evil, for the parallels of unfortunately usual kidnappings and contemporarily disappearances.
Again, look at this. The only 2 positive reviews are in Spanish. Isn't that something? I think Spanish might be the way to watch this movie.
The translators, they hit it on the head.
We're going to figure it out. We're both going to learn Spanish in this next year. We're going to watch it.
Cinco de Mayo.
And then come on. Then Ben Sachs says the girls are so poorly defined that they're practically interchangeable. When the bogeyman starts making them disappear one by one, you may not realize at first that any of them are gone.
Oh, shit. Glenn Kenny of the New York Times with a rotten review. The most perfunctory horror picture I've seen in some time.
Perfunctory? What a word.
Okay. Just go ahead and carried out with a minimum of effort or reflection is
that's a pretty big word. That's a pretty good one here.
Should we expect?
Let's expect. I'm expecting. Derek, I'm expecting.
Oh, babe.
It's a movie. It's a movie. Oh, God. Oh, God.
Since before we started today's episode, we made this bit about giving birth to a movie. And Isaac's like, wait, this is content. And I'm like, wait, that's content. And then I started doing it again. He's like, wait, stop. And then we've tried to do it like 3 times. It's just not working.
No, it's great. What do you mean? That's all it needs. It works perfectly. I'm expecting a movie. And here is what I'm expecting. I'm expecting not a fantastic time because we watched it already before. We kind of know. And so I was expecting like more of the same. But do you have any general expectation for it?
Yeah, it's going to be like a long hour and a half.
Yeah, I think so. My first expectation just says it will be worse than the first time. I think it was one of those where like I was dreading coming back to it, and if we were going to start it again, I'm like, I don't think it's going to surprise me with anything new. I think I pretty much got what I could from the first time.
I love that that's your first expectation. Because my first expectation is that I will like it more.
Oh, okay.
Because time has passed and my expectations have been lowered. I've watched a lot of bad movies.
That's true.
A lot of not well-made movies.
Not well-reviewed movies. I said my next one was despite the fact that I think it'll be worse, it'll be like seeing an old friend, you know?
Yeah.
Even though I don't think it'll be a particularly great movie, it's like, you know, there's a comfort and a familiarity in this one. So it'll be a nice time for that, hopefully.
Yeah. I said that the people with us are going to make it hilarious because it was just me and you watching it last time.
Yeah.
And so I was like, well, maybe it's going to be hilarious this time.
And I said Javier Botet King. Absolutely. Just that was something that I remembered from the last time and remembered even more this time around. Is like he is like the saving grace of this movie as a creature actor.
For sure.
Love that man.
I said Javier Potet will still kick ass.
There it is.
There it is.
We all know it. I said I will have forgotten so much of this movie. It was one of those where, like, I know a year is not a very long time, but I feel like in this year, and after we've watched so many movies for the podcast, and movies just in our regular lives too, it's like I don't know how much of this movie I'm actually going to remember. It'll all be coming back to me.
Joey King will be worse somehow. I don't know. I just expected to really hate her performance.
Yeah, I get that. And my final expectation just said jump scare paradise. And I say that specifically because as we were sitting, like, before we watch it, because Derek bought the Blu-ray version of it this time, so we could watch it in all of the clarity possible. We were sitting on the main, like, menu title screen, right? And it's playing on a little loop, right, of like a little animation. At the end of that loop, there was a jump scare from Slenderman that sat there and just played and played before we actually started watching the movie.
So annoying.
So yeah, I
was so tired of it.
And that was something I remember, and it's something that is common in, you know, like poorly reviewed horror movies where it's like all they do is lean in on the jump scares, thinking that is enough to make it scary, right? And again, we've talked about it. We've gotten on our high horses about it. Hey, high horse, hop in here for a second. Jump scares are not a good way to get like long-lasting fear in people. Thank you very much.
They can be used very effective, but it doesn't.
And also sparingly, please. Do not litter it throughout your entire movie. You know, it's a jump scare minefield.
And I wrote even less scares than last time. Like, I felt like I would be watching this movie and feel way less fear than I felt last time, which I didn't feel any. So, like, who knows?
Totally. Let's summon the man. Shall we summon him in? Let's get him in here.
Slenderman, come on
Doesn't
in,
ever
get
Slender
killing
can.
me. Oh,
Stealing kids
from
on
their
his phones. And did I mention he has a phone? It's Sony's. It is a product plug.
He rides a drone.
Yeah. So, starting out, it still looks like a beautiful wedding video.
Yeah, dude.
Because that is something that Derek mentioned last time, where he was like, you know, you take away the scary music and, you know, the spookiness of it, and all of these shots look they're a montage of someone's beautiful wedding.
I mean, it really does. Oh, wow. I said that almost exactly how I said it last year. But I want to clarify something. You can do that with like anything, right? But there's specifically something about these shots that are like a wedding video.
Yes, exactly.
It was very cheesy.
So it still looks that way. It's a town just like any other. And here's our cool group of teen girls. They're already annoying. They're sitting like on the bleachers showing each other videos on their phone. One of them, Hallie, shows a video to her friend Katie of a cat. And she's like, oh, look at how cute it is. Do you remember what she says there?
Yeah. Oh, it'd be better if it exploded.
Like, what the hell?
So can I interject real quick?
Already?
Yeah.
Damn.
This movie was supposed to start with a bunch of like footage from news.
Okay.
Showing Slenderman tragedies across the world.
Ooh.
It was supposed to be kind of almost graphic a little bit.
A little more captivating.
Talking about them like dying all over the country.
Yeah.
And like there was like a cheerleader talking about how her school burned down and like some freaky stuff that was going on. There was a whole library that got destroyed.
Wow, okay.
Like, a bunch of stuff. There's one scene that was actually pretty terrible of like workers like sifting through ashes of a school structure.
Whoa.
Like, and you can like see it through surveillance video.
That's pretty intense because like as far as I've known Slenderman as a creepypasta story, it is like he is not known for doing like big large scale catastrophes like that, right? It has always been like, you know, mostly one individual sees him and goes missing, right?
Yeah.
That's the kind of thing.
And it seems, based on what I understand, what they were going for with this is Slenderman was making these people do these things.
That's kind of cool. I'm not gonna lie, I'm kind of into that.
So I really liked reading through the script because every time the Slenderman does something, it's bold italics.
Ooh, okay.
And so like you can see it right here, right? There's this scene where the school had just burned down. And there's footage from the surveillance camera showing the two girls like walking away from it into the woods and then just disappearing.
Whoa, that's hefty.
So yeah.
And I mean, like, I think we should mention there are probably obvious reasons why the movie did not get this rating, right? There was the tragedy with the Slenderman kills, the murder, right, that happened around like a year or two before the movie had come out, right? It kind of sparked some controversy. Sony was very nervous.
It was in
2014. So like Sony was very nervous about releasing this movie because of that.
Yeah, it's really that tragedy is unfortunate. In my opinion, based on all of this, I don't think they should have done this movie at all.
Yes.
like,
I
just
mean,
to say it.
truly.
And personally, I feel a little uncomfortable even talking about
Right.
this movie with those killings having
Exactly.
happened.
And I just wanted to say, like, I want to bring that up and say we're not here to like kind of make content out
No.
of that. This has nothing to do with any of that. We're here to discuss
specifically talking about the movie and the
this
cryptid.
movie here. Exactly right. Nothing,
Yes.
nothing related to those horrible tragedies. Right. This is just a movie that was rated 8% on Rotten Tomatoes and probably shouldn't have been made. But I think that is probably definitely why they shifted from like let's do this hard R-rated one where it's talking about things like that and going into the version that we have now.
That being said, I do still want to talk about the things that changed
Please,
because
absolutely.
I think now, like moving forward into the future, I think they could make this movie and make it very cool.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
It'd be cool to see.
I had to in my tummy. I was.
No, me too. I
had
felt
to-
a little icky too.
I had to mention it. We had to bring it out there just so we were all on the same page about that,
Yes,
right?
very much like for remembering those things and making sure that they are brought to light. And just understand we're not making light of that situation.
No, exactly right. Because that has become a big thing, in podcasts, especially nowadays too, right?
Go watch
trying to,
Killers
like-
of the Flower Moon.
Yeah,
We talked a lot about that.
There you go. Exactly right. So that's interesting though, the way it starts out, right? Like it's much more captivating.
It's much more captivating. And I'm really, really glazing over it because now after like 14 different things are happening, you've got the title screen, and now we're looking at the cell phone with the cat.
So it just kind of cuts that part from the beginning, right? Because now we're at these two girls who are looking at cat videos on their phone. They're annoying. We meet like the whole group of them. So there is Hallie, who's basically our final girl of the movie, and they're her three friends. There is Katie, there is Ren, and there is Chloe.
Yep.
And they're the girls that we will be following throughout this movie, right? They have like awkward conversation with the teen boys that they're flirting with at school. They're like, oh yeah, we're gonna have a boys' night. They're like, okay, we're gonna go have a girls' night. Well, we're teenagers. How weird. And just every conversation is so awkward every single time. I just really dislike it. Basically, the only important plot points to mention here is that Hallie has a younger sister who wants to go like to this like girls' night with her. Right? She's like, come on, I'm old enough now. And they're like, sorry, kiddo, you can't. Which is funny because they don't look that much older than this her sister is. She looks like there's probably like 1-2 years difference between them.
One thing I find interesting when reading through the script, comparing the characters, Chloe is like way rougher, and they are all like very sexual and horny all the time.
Okay.
So like Chloe, she's like, we can only offer guidance in your life. Ren says this, and Chloe's just like, eat me, bitch.
Whoa. Which is so funny because in the movie, Chloe was fairly like soft spoken and polite. Yeah, I feel like all of these.
Yeah, man.
I really do side with that one Rotten Tomatoes review where it's like all of these characters are so like interchangeable and forgettable. Like they really do not have such standout personalities because that is a stark difference from what we have going on here, right? But now it's time for it's girls' night. Just, do what girls do. It's just girly things, like summoning Slenderman.
Yeah.
I guess that's what happens at sleepovers. That's exactly what goes down.
I guess so.
So they're getting a little drinky and they're playing on their phones with each other. How fun,
But it's not alcohol, or was it? I didn't think
I don't really know. They were drinking something. It doesn't really
solo cups.
It doesn't really matter if it was alcohol or not. Nothing happened pertaining to that, but they were just having a fun night together. And then they start talking about like, I wonder what the boys are doing at their boys' party, right?
So I'm sorry, I'm not going to do this the whole time. I'm not going to do this the whole time.
No, I'm very interested to see how crazy different it is.
So Katie's dad from later in the movie.
Yes, no, because he was here in this scene. There's a shot of like they walk past him as he's sleeping on the couch.
Yes,
and she's like, "Oh, dad drank too much and he's asleep." Shh, walk past him.
It goes way more into him.
Really?
And I actually kind of appreciated it going into him a little bit more. He's like ex-military. He's really dealing with some PTSD, and he's like very much dealing with alcoholism.
This is a whole thing we don't get from this character.
Man. And like
he's kind of just a creep in this one.
And it goes on about how like her mom left because she was dealing with him, but she left Katie behind, and like it's actually really sad.
Wild.
And it really makes you feel for Katie's character, and all of this was cut.
Yep. All of this was cut. There's nothing to these characters to make you care about them or worry about them. They're just kind of annoying and not very fleshed out at all.
Yeah.
So one of the friends, I think it's Chloe actually, who mentions like, oh, I know what they're doing at the boys' sleepover. They're looking up the Slenderman, and it's like this feels so lazy. Everything that happens is so convenient. None of it feels very naturally told to any of us. So the girls are basically like, if they're doing it, we're doing it, right? So they just immediately find a link to a video on like the first page of like their Google.
Yeah.
It's like, it doesn't.
No.
We mentioned this the last time we watched this movie too, where like they don't have actual like addresses on the websites. It's not like
just like a bunch of
Google.com.
numbers.
It's just like, it's almost their IP address in the search bar. It's really funny.
So while this is happening, above them are the footsteps of Katie's like drunken ass dad, like
whoa,
being all like scary and menacing.
that's spooky.
Yeah.
Gosh, like that's
good.
This is a
Like,
whole
why would
other
you
level.
cut that?
God
Like, 'cause,
damn.
like the way that I interpreted this scene, obviously everything is very up to interpretation, but they're like sitting down there, like doing this thing. They're trying to escape horror
Yes.
with horror, right? That's the whole.
That's good.
That's the whole point of horror.
That's good.
And that's she's dealing with this real life horror,
Oh,
and they're
man.
all scared of her dad.
Someone get their hands on this script. This is better,
It's
honestly.
insane, dog.
So they find a link so easily to this random website, and all they have to do is watch a video of like a forest. It starts out and it's kind of an eerie video, just showing random like shots of a forest. Again, kind of looks like just a wedding video if you really think of it that way. And then there's just a quick shot of Slenderman, and then just like wild strobing collage of random like spooky images. You know, it was just like way too much. It was like bright flashing white lights
was
on
a
it. You know,
lot.
it's like a surgery on an eyeball, spooky tentacles, you know, trees in a forest, you know, like just like, ooh, everything you can think of when you look up scary images, like that is what flashes up in like 6 seconds of like craziness, right?
This is one of the situations where they're actually talking about the 7 girls who went missing in 2001.
Interesting.
Which is the first in this world's lore.
That's the first
would
time.
have been the first time that you hear about Slender Man.
Much more interesting. This is crazy.
Yeah.
So yeah, kind of a girls' night gone wrong. They definitely didn't have a fun time doing this, but they kind of just giggle it off and go about their days. But then Hallie, the main character, is having nightmares about Slenderman, right? There's more flashing images and eerie forests, and like there's neat effects going on, but they're not great. Like I don't love them, but I don't hate them either. And now it's time for a school field trip to a graveyard, which again, just like I know those can happen. Like you mentioned, you went on a school field trip to a graveyard, right? It's just like one of those things where like, oh, okay, we're in a horror movie. Your school just happens to be going to a field trip to a graveyard right now. Like it's kind of weird. Also, did this happen in high school? Like I don't remember that.
I mean, I don't think I went on many. I think I went on like 2.
I don't think I went on
field
any
trips in
field
high
trips
school.
in high school. Right?
Yeah.
But yeah, so then pretty easily the girls go, oh yeah, we've all been having nightmares. Just like, oh right, yeah, all of us are kind of freaking out, right? And then the redhead Katie is definitely possessed. She's just staring off into the woods. There's something in there. And then she like walks closer to the woods and she has this like face of terror as this like snapping twig sound plays. And then there's just shots of trees. How scary. Sap. Ah, I hate trees.
I got it. I got it. There's actually been a few things, but I'm skipping things
This
now
is
because I
nuts.
don't have time.
Oh, man.
To like tell you all the things that have been cut.
Go.
It goes into detail about how Katie gets taken.
This is insane.
So
This is
normally-
everything that is missing from this movie.
So normally there's a time skip, right?
Yes.
There's like a snapping tree. No, so let's see. I'm just gonna read this to you.
Yeah.
If that's cool. Let me
Because while you're finding that, because what happens right here is like shows Katie scaring in horror into the forest, and then time skips right here wicked fast, and now it's like the nighttime and Katie's just missing. So literally what Derek has here is pretty much the missing link between these two parts of the movie.
Yeah, so Katie's staring off into the distance. We see deep sadness in Katie's eyes, emotion hiding just under the surface. It overwhelms her, and she starts to cry.
Okay, yeah.
The tears turn black. She wipes them away.
Okay.
They're still streaming. She panics. Inky black liquids dripping off of her face and pooling in the palms of her hand.
I'm liking
her
this.
panics turn to pain. She turns, starts to choke. The black tears streak down her face, draining the color from her skin.
Whoa.
There's an angel screaming at her is the description.
What?
But I'm assuming that she's earlier they refer to the Slenderman as an angel.
Okay, so
that's what-
Angel is the Slenderman
yeah,
then.
but its face is now blurred and featureless. It's a blank void. Katie gasps for air. She can't look away. We see the terror in her eyes as the statue of the man rises up in front of her, growing taller, morphing into a towering, slendering figure, arms reaching downward. Katie stands paralyzed. She can't move. It has control. She can't breathe. She can't scream. Katie's body jolts and it snaps out.
Wow, like that is so much more than we got, because all we got was her staring into the forest and being like, scary. That's it.
And then she is just walks away.
Yeah.
And is gone.
Travels into the forest. How nuts. A completely different movie. I'm like mad.
Completely different
I'm
movie.
mad. I can't
Yeah.
believe you found this. I'm like upset now. So now the cops are here and they got to do a search through the woods, but like for some reason only at night. I'm sure she's been missing for a while, but like I guess the best time to go find a missing teenager is in the nighttime with your flashlights. Like not a great idea. Right?
Yeah.
So now Hallie's back home and kind of getting grilled by her sister about what happened to Katie because like she's like, I know something's up. They're acting weirdly like there's some like dirty little secret going on. Like, come on, you can tell me.
You know.
It's like seems like I don't know. I didn't really like that one. But then there's sudden like slamming sounds in the house, and it's kind of spooky a
It's
little
kind
bit.
of creepy, yeah.
There was also a jump scare where nothing actually popped into screen. It was just like the sound effect of a jump scare.
Oh, yeah.
And maybe it was because I don't know if you remember this from the last time we watched it. It was incredibly dark. All of the lighting in this movie was super, super dark.
It was.
And I feel like there was one or two moments where I swear I remembered like Slenderman popping up in the background, but I didn't see it this time because it was so dark. I don't know what happened.
was.
I don't know if we're just remembering it wrong or what.
I don't know.
But
I
anyway.
do remember that, though.
So somebody is banging on Katie's door to her room right now, and then he starts calling her name, and then like Katie opens the door, or sorry, no, Hallie.
Yeah,
Hallie. It's in
Katie's
her house.
gone.
Katie's dad, the drunk one, right?
Yeah.
He shows up and he starts shouting at her, saying it's her fault, blaming her for getting her into the occult, and he starts trying to attack her. So like she calls the cops, he gets arrested. It's not too long after that, right?
Yep.
But like it's only been like a day. How much could she have gotten into like things like the occult in the span of like less than a day, right?
Well, and they cut an entire scene between this of like the kids all being questioned by authorities and like the authorities
Interesting.
asking where they are. And there's some blame getting pushed on the dad, on Katie's dad for like what's going on.
Oh, yikes.
That's a whole plot line
That's
that's just
scary.
kind of bloop.
Oh man. So back at school the next day, the dumb schoolboys who were like, oh yeah, we were playing with Slenderman, they said they chickened out. They're like, no, we couldn't summon the Slenderman, which is exactly why they survived the movie and the other people maybe don't.
It's fear is good. You feel fear for a reason.
Really though, and it's weird to me how much and how little people in this world know about Slenderman. Like, he transcends this weird urban legend online, right? Because, like, it seems like multiple people are aware of this thing, right? Like, he's obviously popularized through the internet, but he is actually a thing that when you look him up, he does come in and kill people, right? So it's like, they do not thread this needle very well, where it's like, you know, he exists and we know things about him, but, like, he is still this unknown being that people are being scared by. I don't know. I feel like we know a lot and nothing about him at the same time, and it doesn't work.
Yeah.
It's like it's inconsistent, and I dislike it. Ren is really convinced now that they might have started a real problem by starting to summon the Slenderman, which is, you know, smart of her. So the teens go to investigate Katie's house, and like one of them distracts the dad in the front of the house while the others sneak in the back, you know, because she's like, oh, I wanted to know if there's anything I could do to help you look for her. You know, I'm just really worried about her while they sneak in. When they sneak in, they go into her room, into Katie's room, and find like on her desk they find these pen sketchings of Slenderman and like a grimoire of like, you know, occult something.
Yeah.
Who knows where she got that, when, don't know.
Who knows?
Without much investigation, they find a hidden laptop like behind a panel in the wall. Like, how the hell did they find that?
Don't know.
I think there might have been one line where they mentioned she might like hide weed back there or something. I can't remember. But anyway, so yeah, I don't understand how the cops missed it, but now they find this laptop, right? So now it's Hallie, Ren, and Chloe. They look into the laptop. The last site that she was on was just a bunch of videos of other people experiencing the Slenderman, which again, it's like a lot of people have had experiences with this thing. How is this not like a bigger phenomenon? People know about this. Like, I don't understand. And also, none of their research ever in this movie give them more knowledge on how to like beat the Slenderman or on how to survive the Slenderman.
Yeah.
Because that's always how these things go in horror movies, right? It's like, oh, we're being hunted by vampires right now. Oh, cool, garlic. That's how we kill them, right? They never learn anything that is going to assist them in like hurting, getting rid of, you know, banishing the Slenderman, nothing like that, right?
Yeah, no.
But so she finds a bunch of videos of other people with Slenderman, and these fake websites look terrible. Katie was talking to some rando in a chat room, and they were like comparing their experiences there. She had sent a video to this random person. Their name was like AlleyCat93. She had sent them a video of her basically being caught by the Slenderman. So like we get that missing scene of her walking through the woods and getting scared by something, and then the video just cuts out. And it's just kind of funny because it's like, who sent this video? How did this happen? Did she get caught, die, and then the Slenderman picks up the phone and with his long spindly fingers sends it?
This is so different.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So they actually like they have a video of Katie that they took at the cemetery
Okay.
on Hallie's phone.
Okay.
And they look at it on there.
See, this makes more sense,
It
though.
does.
That is much more natural because
they were
this one-
taking videos on the field trip.
because it does not compute how this video would have been sent in the first place.
No.
Because literally, basically, her death scene right there, right?
Yeah.
So it's like, how could this have even been sent if that was
No,
the case?
it doesn't make any sense. Also, when they go to Katie's house, what they did was they broke into the house.
Okay.
Because they thought that the dad did something.
Right.
They
I was going to
weren't
say,
sure.
when you mentioned that, I'm like, okay, I guess that does away with them being like, oh, sorry, Dad, you know,
Yeah.
blah, blah. So
There's
okay.
an entire scene that, when I was reading it, creeped me out.
Oh, really?
Where the dad is drunk, grabs a gun,
Whoa.
hears them in the house. They hide in the pantry, and there's a whole moment of them like terrified he's going to shoot them.
God, this is a great way to bring in another horror element that is not just the
It's
Slender
that
Man.
realistic horror,
Really,
right?
though?
Like movies can do that really, really well. Some of them pander, and it ends up doing it very disrespectfully.
Right.
But this could have been done well.
Really, though? I think so.
And then Ren actually comes to the door and ends up saving them
Wow.
by saying like, "Hey, I'm here. Can I help you with anything?"
That is
and
just
they end up
so
escaping.
much. That is more like impactful in
Yeah.
this one.
Well, because you're scared of this guy the whole time.
Yeah, exactly.
And when in this movie he was just like this drunken buffoon,
Who's just like really
who
down on
wanted-
his luck.
His performance was so bad.
Yeah.
Where's she?
Where's my daughter? Are you the Joker? The Joker took Slender Man. No, my daughter. I can't remember.
Which one's my daughter? I birthed the man. Was it Slenderman?
Is the Joker my daughter or not?
You want to see how I got this no face?
I'm gonna turn him into Robin.
Who's Robin? You robbing me?
Are you robbing me, Joker? Who's Slender Man? I
Is
forgot.
this all a joke to you? Give me a riddle.
I do have to mention though, there was one cool effect when all three of them are looking into the laptop and finding more out about like what Katie was up to online. There's like their shadow of them from the light illuminating from the computer screen. It stretches up the wall behind them and like starts to form the shape of the Slender Man. I thought that was actually a really cool effect.
Yeah, for sure.
But now Ren is alone with the laptop and she starts talking with this online friend in this chat room. Their name is AlleyCat93.
Yep.
And they say, AlleyCat93 says that the Slender Man is interested in them. It's like he knows that you're looking for him. And they must give something up to find out about Katie or to rescue her. Like, not really sure exactly what she gets out of this. And like, who is messaging her? Is it Slender Man's assistant?
it's receptionist for sure. Yeah, it's his like
it's Slender receptionist.
Slender receptionist. You know, Slender Man's sitting there at like his castle in Boston or something, and he's just sitting there at his little desk. Hey, Marla, could you get on that little dark web for me? And I need some kids.
Is this the Slender?
Yeah, this is a Slender Man.
I like the thought of the Slender Man not having any voice, just like
No, that was his voice.
and like his reception is like, so what do you want me to do? How you want me to kill these kids or something for you? And he goes, she's like, don't give me that attitude. I don't want any of that from you. All right, I already killed those two last week. All right. All right, thank you for the apology. I'll go get these kids now. It's me, AlleyCat93.
That's why she has that name. Oh man, I need to redo my nails.
Yeah, you better stop
I broke
paying
a
me
nail
more
on
so
the
I can fix my
keyboard.
nails. Ooh. You know,
I
this
was tippity typing to
receptioning is so hard for you these days. You know, I've ran out of gum to smack all the time. You know,
And every once in a while, he comes out and he starts trying to like turn her into a tree or something. He's like, no, I'll break a nail.
I'll break it. Not now,
Slendy.
Not now,
Slendy. Slendy, we talked about this.
I know you don't like being called Slendy. That's why I call you that all the time.
Now you know, hun, this is why we're the only ones who work. This is why you keep me employed.
Remember, you would be nothing without me. You know, remember that school you burned down in the other script version of this film? How do you think that happened? That's
You
because
think
of
that?
me.
I was holding
It's
the
'cause of
propane.
me.
I was holding that match.
That's me. I committed arson for you. Remember,
Remember,
everything I do for
I
you.
committed our son.
Remember, Alley Cat loves you. Alley Cat loves you. Remember that.
Now who's a good alley cat, huh? Now, yeah, that's right. Pet me with one of your tentacles. Oh, that's very nice there, Slendy.
Now you're getting somewhere.
Woo.
Now it's somewhere different.
Woo.
Reception. Okay.
And then just the whole time.
Exactly. Like it just like shots of him, like no speech whatsoever. His blank face, but it's one of those where like no expression on his face. You can tell what he's feeling.
Yes,
like the emotion behind it.
absolutely. He like because his face is all flat,
Yes.
right? But you can still like see curves and like
Like where the eyebrows
yeah,
would
like
be.
where his eyebrows would be like kind of squeezing in. He's really pissed.
Oh, that's so good.
On his desk, he has like buttons. It's like kill alley cat.
It's like one of those things where they teach like dogs and and like monkeys to speak by using the buttons that type it out.
Yeah, like, oh my God.
He has 3 buttons there. He has like kidnap, kill, and then like
Burn down a school.
burn down a school. And there's a 4th button that just says lunch.
Honey, are you sure you wanted lunch? You've had lunch 4 times today. Oh.
Yeah. What are you looking for lunch? You know, and I'm thinking you need to start going on a diet. You know, they call you Slenderman, but you're looking more like, you know, a little
thicker boy.
You're looking like thick
You
man.
look a little
these
thick, man.
days.
You need to lay off those boys.
You know what I'm telling you? You know what you really need to lay off though is those chips.
Those chips.
You eating all those
Yeah, you
chips?
eating all those chips.
Always eating those chips in that damn library.
And all these kids, they know you're coming because you're eating those chips.
Yeah, you lost out on 3 kids last week because you were eating those damn chips.
You need to add less boys, more hummus.
Kids these days, all they know is eat hot chip and kill kids.
Oh, we're going to
This is terrible. I'm so sorry. This is terrible.
I loved that bit. I thought that was very funny.
So yes, I guess she's talking to Slenderman's assistant. Not sure who she's chatting with here, but so Ren, after learning that, she goes back to her other friends the next day about what she learned, and like, I don't know how I feel about this comparison because she's basically saying he's a virus. He gets in your head and then he stays there, and you have to remove him. I'm like, do I love or hate the idea of comparing Slenderman to a computer virus? Because it's like, I do enjoy them trying to make it like, you know, he did come from an internet story, right? It's like, okay, so yes, so comparing him to like a computer virus, that kind of works. I'm kind of into that.
Yeah.
I don't love it. I don't hate it, but it almost tracks, right?
It almost worked.
But so she convinces them we need to go out into the woods and try to give something up that they truly love to get Katie back. So what did they bring? What are these items that they brought that they truly love to bring their friend back? Well, Ren brings a mug that she made in pottery class when she was like 5. Chloe brought a picture of her dad taken before he died. And Hallie brought a blanket made for her sister that was made like by her grandmother, right? So like 2 of those are very, like, they could be very sentimental items, right? Ren brought a goddamn mug she made in a pottery class. And then she has the audacity to judge the others for what they brought. She's like, really? So that's all you brought? I was like, yeah, at least there's has sentimental value to them, you dick. But so they destroy the items, right? They smash the mug, they rip up the blanket and the picture, whatever, right?
Yeah.
It is really, really dark in this scene. Like, I don't
Yes.
understand. Like, there's a conversation that can be had here about how, like, I feel like people forgot how to properly light scenes in the nighttime, specifically outdoor scenes at night.
It's so true,
'Cause
man.
this
I couldn't
ain't-
tell what was going on.
I feel like more than ever, like, we keep seeing movies where like the scenes at night are so dark. And I know darkness is scary, but you know what else is scary? Giving me something to be scared about, right? You know,
Yeah.
utilizing that properly, not just being like, oh, well, it's dark so they can't see, so we can hide a lot in there. And I don't know if that's their idea, but like, I don't like it. So they blindfold themselves. You know, you can't be looking at Slenderman when you do this thing. That's what his secretary says.
So okay. Hi, horse.
Right,
Okay.
come on in.
I don't know why I'm here because what you're saying isn't that important. No. So when I was reading through this, when I was reading it, right, when I was digesting it as
Right.
a different medium, it felt different to me. I actually kind of was here for it. Okay.
Okay.
Like there was something about the way that this scene was kind of given to me that worked.
Yeah.
They are like desperate to bring their friend back.
Uh-huh.
And so they're like, okay, we have to give up a part of ourselves in order to get our friend to come back to us.
Right.
And that's kind of beautiful.
I mean, I
But-
really do appreciate that. That's why, like, I'm bothered by the fact that Ren brought a mug from pottery class. It's like,
But
it's a beautiful thing for them to be doing that, right? For their friend, like, there's a connection there. They really care about them.
but in the script, it says when Ren reaches into her bag, she pulls out a ceramic monstrosity.
That's pretty good.
No, but I actually kind of liked it more for some reason because I don't know. She made it in pottery class when she was 5. It was supposed to be a coffee mug for her mother. She
Right.
used it as an ashtray. Like the way that like reads to me
Yes.
is like she did something beautiful and it meant a lot to her. And it may be a mug.
Yeah.
But it was like actual like I didn't get this from the movie.
No,
right?
the movie did not do a good job of describing it as that.
But I think there could have been something there.
Yeah, I think so,
I
absolutely.
think there really could have been. She actually had something. I think whenever
Especially
this was written, he
Yeah.
really felt something about
Especially that connection to, like, her mother, too. And even though she didn't use it as a mug, used it as an ashtray, there's still that connection, right?
Well, it's a connection in like a, oh shit, she used that as an ashtray?
Yeah, probably
Like
means
that-
there might be some issues
There's
at home.
something going on.
Because we were even watching, when we were watching the behind the scenes of this, the actress that plays Hallie mentions the fact that her character is probably the only one that has like a stable home life. The rest
Yeah.
of them kind of struggle.
Absolutely.
And you don't see really any of that. The only one you see is Katie's dad,
No.
right? You don't even meet the other parents of the other kids, right? They're just non-existent.
Yeah.
So they blindfold themselves, right, in this scene here. And then, like, I didn't even notice there were, like, these sounded like cicadas in the woods that were, like, drowning everything out. And then they suddenly just go away.
just stop.
Which I do like that effect. I love when,
that
like, the what am I trying to say? White noise of a scene that you don't really notice just because it's, like, natural real life makes noise. When that goes away, suddenly things are a little scary.
Things are scary.
Then Chloe immediately looks out of the blindfold. Derek
my
just
God.
says, I wish this was scary. Is what Derek says. And then Chloe sees something. She just screams and starts running right into a tree. And as she's kind of coming to after like getting knocked out by this tree, the Slender Man appears right above her, reaching down at her with his big long hand. And it looks kind of spooky. I like the scenes with Slender Man in them.
Me too.
And then when she reunites with the other two, she seems a little out of sorts. Something seems a little off about her after she has interacted with the Slender Man. Is it a lot better?
I'm so mad.
So what happened in yours?
Like, I watched this movie with you, and then I read the script, and like,
Derek,
kind of
your-
got crossed.
Derek, your lunch is better than mine. I brought just like my little mayonnaise and rye bread sandwich from home, and you brought like this deluxe Lunchables here.
Well, Chloe's character is kind of a bitch, right? Like, she's the character in this situation that's like very like nothing's gonna happen.
Yeah,
this
yeah.
is stupid. Like, she's making jokes, like blowing jokes, and like really like dumb.
So she's like the raunchy
she's
friend
the
of
raunchy,
the group, right?
like the whole time.
Wild.
And it takes a while for her to take her blindfold off.
Really?
It takes a good while.
Because in this one it happens
It's
like
immediately.
Yeah.
And then she does it, and like Hallie and her take them off at the same time, and they're both like immediately scared and terrified. It just
Crazy.
feels like two completely different things.
So wildly different here.
Anyway, keep going.
So yeah, what am I trying to say? Where can I even go with this? All transitional shots have the same vibes of like missing wife montage. Cause you mentioned like beautiful wedding video. Like
Yeah.
the vibe that I get in some of these shots, especially some of the shots that show like Katie missing, is it's like when there's a character who is like tormented about his life, and he's like, oh, my wife is missing, and then he's thinking about her, and like you see these like these shots of her like, oh, he don't twit the camera at me. Oh, I mean, like the dream sequence of like the missing dead wife thing. That's how all of the transitional shots that show the forest and missing Katie, that's how it feels like. It also keeps giving me this weird impression that Hallie and Katie were maybe in love.
Yeah, I definitely get that vibe as well.
Because she definitely seems a little more stirred about the fact that she's missing. Not enough to make me believe that that's the case, but like it seems like maybe there might have been a little like of a love relationship there between the two of them. Especially
Absolutely.
since the movie does start with the two of them. It is the two of them watching that cat video at the very beginning.
Yeah.
So like, don't understand. Like, either do it or don't. I don't care. It's just like, I don't know why they kind of hinted towards that. Was there any sense of that in your movie?
Not really
Nah, I didn't
at
think there
all.
would be.
I kind of felt like it was very much like a them
Yeah.
like actors thing. I didn't get that at all. Actually, as far as relationship goes, it's just that one girl and that one guy, and that's it.
That's it. So if this next sequence of the movie had a chapter title, it'd be Slender Man Gets a Phone. Because Chloe gets a video call she's at her house now. When she answers it, she sees it's a video call. She sees the front of her house. And so, like, is Slender Man just like a Twitch streamer now? Is that what's happening? And it also doesn't look like the type of footage that a phone could get, right? Like, it is absolutely like clearly like, industry grade cameras they're using to get this footage. Instead, it's playing on her phone, her Sony phone, by the way. They definitely made sure to do that like perfect product placement in the way she was holding her hands around the phone. But so she sees the front of her phone, and like they're really trying to oversell the fact that their Sony phone has a good camera in it, I guess. And the video call is just going through all of the doors in her house, all the way through the hallways, up the stairs, leading to the doorway into her room, right? So she opens the door, there's nobody there, and then suddenly something curls up behind her. These spindly fingers of the Slender Man come up from behind her and start choking her. Then, as she's getting choked by the Slender Man, there's a lot of weird kind of shitty effects that are happening around this. She looks to her right, and in the mirror, she can see her own hands choking herself, which I actually thought was kind of a neat effect.
It was
right?
pretty cool, yeah.
Where it's like the Slender Man is like making you do these things, but he is not actually there. So if there's to be any investigation of it, there's no evidence that any kind of Slender Man creature existed, right? So I'm like, that was probably one of my favorite things in this movie. I actually really did like that effect.
For sure.
So now she's done it. We don't know if she's dead or not. We just like, it kind of cuts away from her. And that's kind of how it does all of the deaths in this movie.
Yeah.
For the most part.
It does.
except for like 2, I think.
Yeah.
But so now Hallie is a little scared because Chloe hasn't shown up for school the next day, right? And she's not answering her phone. She's like walking outside talking with this boy that she likes, and she sees like this spooky slender man just standing on the edge of the woods near the field, and he has like all of his tentacles spinning around him and everything. He actually did look really cool.
He looks so dope right there.
It is really sad.
Very
that, like,
eldritch.
That is really some of the most we can get out of Slenderman, right? Because he's a short form monster, right? He does not do the big long chase sequences like a Michael Myers or something like that, right? Like literally, it is pretty much if you were alone, you see him, bye, you're dead, you're done, you know, right? So like you can't really get long form scenes with him in it, but there are some that I really enjoy, like this next one. Ren is now in the public library using their computers to do more research on Slenderman. She's looking into like shadow people. This research goes way deeper than it needs to, and she's also looking into like other missing kids. She starts finding this book written by this guy named Jeremy M. Woodward, who is someone she found online. Doesn't really make sense. The creaking sounds that she hears in the library still sound like someone eating chips. I stand by that.
That is the most iconic thing we've ever said.
Because
like the someone brought chips to a library.
Because we talked about like how, you know, our episode, we didn't have the energy that we wanted to, blah, blah, blah. I still like our episode, right? What really, I think, hit both of us where we're like, this could actually be, I think this is entertaining to us, is when we found the title for the episode as Someone Brought Chips to the Library.
It was a beautiful moment.
I really liked it. I liked it a
moment.
lot. And it still sounds like it. Like, what do you think Slenderman is eating? Doritos?
Doritos?
Cheetos?
No, he's I've always thought it was like a bag of Lay's potato chips.
Like, what is the spookiest,
Just, like, standard.
what is the scariest chip he can be eating? It's got to be like a...
Your order of Lay's chips is here.
Yeah, no, I got the spooky ones you wanted. Yeah, the ghost pepper ones. Yeah, I know you think ghosts is real spooky, you know.
It's
You're gonna go
spooky when
bust
it's
them
coming
or
out of your
something.
butt.
And then, the lights go out. Darkness,
Oh,
banging
no.
noises, chips in the library. Slendy appears from the dark. And this was my favorite scene the last time we watched it. And this is definitely going along with my my expectation of, like, it's going to be like seeing an old friend, right?
Oh, yeah.
Because this scene, I remembered as it was coming up, like, I actually really enjoyed this sequence because he's kind of like, the lights go out. She's running through, like, the library kind of becomes this maze that she can't find her way out of. The only way she can illuminate anything is with her phone flashlight. And I kind of liked it a lot. So, like, then a less than great effect happens where the library kind of turns into like a scene from Inception, where everything starts folding in on itself and looking like a weird kaleidoscope of all this weird stuff going on, right? Yeah. But Javier Botet looks fantastic. This is one of my favorite scenes with him as the Slenderman in it. The coolest effect happens when he gets close to her, because he's basically chasing her throughout the thing. She's screaming, running away. When he gets her, he touches her face with his hand, and then her face gets completely smoothed over to look like his face does, just no features.
So freaking cool.
And she's just screaming from the inside of this, like with her, through her lack of a mouth, screaming against this flesh face that she has now. It was genuinely kind of spooky. It was the one part that actually kind of like actually made me feel any kind of fear or like discomfort throughout the whole thing. Mm-hmm. Really, really loved it. Was anything very different in your version of that one?
No, it's actually pretty spot on.
I mean, that tracks though, right?
That scene was great, and it was spot on.
Really, really worked.
Yeah.
So anyway, she's screaming, and then like suddenly things flash back to life. The lights are on. A librarian is like worried about her because she's screaming in the middle of the library. She's got a bag of chips next to her. What's that about?
Crunch, crunch.
No, she doesn't. But in a fervor, she goes to tell Hallie about her discoveries, and she definitely looks crazy. Neither of them have seen Chloe yet, so they decide to ditch school, go visit her at her house, right?
Yeah.
So they're sneaking up to her house, little sneaky, and they're like going up to like the front door that is like a big window in the door, and then in a jump scare fashion, Chloe just kind of pops into frame in front of the doorway, and she just kind of looks like she's in a catatonic state. She's just staring into the middle distance, looking right past them, and then they just decide to leave her. They're just like, well, okay, we can't help her. Clearly, she's possessed. Like, what great friends. You guys really care about each other, you know? Talking about how you need to sacrifice something you love for your other friend. But when this one is still alive, clearly is struggling, you're like, we're going to go this way now. And that is the last time you see Chloe for the rest of the movie.
Not in the original script.
Really? Oh, man. Is that...
I'll get to that in a minute.
We'll come up to that? That is insane.
What I do want to say, though, is there's throughout this whole situation, there are a lot of moments of Chloe going crazy.
Oh, man.
Like the moment at the school in a second, she's there. I'll go over that in a minute.
Yeah.
There's a lot of different moments of like Chloe going to her friends being like, I'm scared, I need help. He's there, I can't stop thinking about him. They're
would work
so
a lot more.
worried about her. And then...
Because they really just kind of wrote her off after she got possessed. They were like, yeah, we'll
throw
in
in
like
to do with her. It's too
throw in
scary.
like one scene to put her in, like show that she's still alive. I don't know, and then never come back to her. Like it's really stupid. So now Hallie and Ren argue for a moment and they go their own ways. Basically, Hallie is trying to be normal. She's going on a date, and then Ren is still unable to move on from this. She's really fixated on it. So now we're at Hallie's date.
This is one situation I want to tell you the script version before you tell me.
Let's go.
This version.
You start us out.
The script version, Hallie and Tom are together. They're making out on the couch. That's normal, like it was in the movie.
Totally
too.
normal.
They put on some royalty-free vinyl records. Tom immediately starts asking about Chloe because he knows what's going on with her. Because people know she's going crazy. People know and are worried about her.
Instead, they threw her in the background in this one.
And then Hallie tells Tom that, like, we watched this video, and he's like, oh, I want to watch it. I want to watch it. She's like, please don't watch it. They get in a fight. He leaves.
It's his house. I guess the date didn't happen.
The date could happen anywhere.
Didn't happen in his house.
Oh, no, she leaves. I'm sorry.
Okay, yeah.
But they just kiss, and she leaves. That's it.
That would have been a little bit better. Because what happens in this one, same deal, goes over to his house. He puts on his royalty-free vinyl records. Like, yeah, this is my dad's stuff, but I like it too. He's kind of annoying. And then as they're making out, the music that he puts on begins to distort.
Yep.
And then suddenly, as he's like kind of above her as they're making out on the couch, he starts to freak out like those kind of less than great sequences in like the Venom movie, whereas like he's got white eyes, he's got these veins running up his neck, and his head is just shaking violently in a kind of blurred fashion.
So stupid.
So it's like someone just went nuts in After Effects, and it looks really bad. So he freaks out over her, and she like pushes him off. He's like, "Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to." She's like, "No, it's okay. It's just me and my friends. We watched this video," and so she shows him. He immediately pulls up the link on his phone. She's like, "No, please, Tom, don't watch the video.
Don't watch the video."
He's like, all right, I won't. But then the next day, Tom is at school and he's acting kind of funny. And so he definitely checked out the video, even though Hallie told him not to. He's even got like these like marks on his arm for something. Oh, Derek looks excited. What's up? What happened?
This scene is wild.
Really?
This scene is insane.
What's going on?
Are you ready? So, well, talk through what happens here. And when you get to the end of the school, I'll go back.
I mean, that's basically
it, right?
That's basically all I got. Yeah, she sees Tom. He's looking weird. He's got these like bruises on his arm that look like something had happened to him. We don't see that. Do you know what happened?
I know everything.
Oh, lay it on me.
So Tom definitely watched the video and is freaking out. But what happens before that, Hallie gets to school.
Yes.
And you see Hallie like go through, she's like in the locker room or something, and Chloe is there.
Okay.
And Chloe walks by, and Hallie's trying to talk to her. She's really worried about her friend, right? She won't talk to her, and all of a sudden you see the shot of, well, you don't see it, you imagine it.
Right.
The shot of Chloe like smiling to herself and looking a little fucked up.
Okay.
Now we're in the classroom.
Yes.
We're in the classroom. Tom sits down. Hallie's trying to talk to him. She's like, what's going on? He's got bruises. She doesn't know what's going on. And he's not acting okay. In the corner of the room, Chloe is there doing the like surgery on a cow's eyeball.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. That's what they're doing in class.
The teacher is actually like talking him through it. Then Chloe starts to go crazy, starts to laugh, holds the scalpel to her eye, stares at it for a long time, stabs it straight into her face.
No way.
Yeah, man.
That's an R-rated movie.
That's
right
an
there.
R-rated movie right there. The crowd goes insane.
Of course.
Everyone in the classroom
The class
is going
would
nuts.
erupt into chaos.
The last time you see Chloe is being wheeled into an ambulance.
That is insane. And that is a much more like, that wraps that up so much better than her
It actually wraps it up.
Yeah, it actually wraps it up instead of just leaving her and be like, oh yeah, something happened to her. I'm sure. Who knows?
Yeah, it's kind of fucked.
That's crazy.
Content warning?
Yeah, a little bit, maybe. But so Hallie has had enough now. So she goes to message Ali K93, secretary, receptionist of Slenderman. But the account has now been suspended. So now she just can't reach it, which I don't think is how chat. I don't know. Who knows?
Who knows?
They got weird technology issues in this movie we don't have to get into. But then she starts hearing someone calling her name, and it sounds like Katie calling to her. Then she starts calling out, "Help me, Hallie!" It's leading her out of her house into the woods. Then she sees like the silhouette of Slenderman in the distance. He jump scares her, and then she wakes up back in bed. And so the dream is not quite over. Now she feels sick to her stomach, walks over to the bathroom sink and starts like almost vomiting into the sink. And then she doesn't, I don't even think she actually vomits anything up. But then she like gets up and looks at her belly, and now she's like fully pregnant. And then these Slenderman tentacles start to poke out of her stomach and then break out and like completely smash the mirror in this wild effect. It was such nonsense. Like what was going on here? What was the idea behind this? Did Slenderman impregnate you? Are you possessed now? What is happening?
This isn't anywhere in the script.
And probably for good reason. Honestly.
I'm going through trying to find it again because I didn't find it this morning. I
Yeah.
still can't find it. It's just not there.
And it doesn't come up. There's never anything about like a baby Slender Man
No.
impregnating someone. Just like a weird way for them to be like the Slender Man is inside of you. You know,
No.
I really didn't like it.
In fact, what happens instead
Yeah.
is Lizzie is having a complete
And Lizzie's her
mental,
sister.
Yeah, Lizzie's Hallie's sister. She's having like a complete mental breakdown.
Mm-hmm.
She's very upset about everything. Hallie and Lizzie are like, I mean, Hallie's mom
Yeah.
is trying to comfort
Yeah.
Hallie and Lizzie through this situation.
'Cause
They're
that's-
really struggling.
Because that's what happens when she wakes up, right? She hears Lizzie, her sister, screaming in the next room, and she kind of just goes to her,
Yeah.
and not much else happens from there. They take her to the hospital. They're monitoring her. She looks a little bad, and I think it's kind of like Slender Man is holding on to her as kind of like ransom for, I don't know,
Yes.
for her own life. Don't really know. But so this hospital is kind of sketchy. Everything, like, there's a sequence of Hallie walking down the hallway.
My favorite scene from the first time we watched it, still from this.
It kind of has like a Shining effect to it, right? Like that scene where like they're walking down the hallway, they look into the separate rooms where weird things are happening. So like everything is a slow motion. All the workers kind of stare at Hallie as she passes. She passes by this really eerie room where there's some girl in a bathtub with this very long, greasy, gross hair and just some creep combing through it, kind of roughly with a comb. And then a doctor, this really tall, lanky, well, I can't even say a doctor yet. This really tall, lanky figure starts walking towards her down the hallway in the darkness. And you're like, oh shit, is that the Slender Man? But then it's just a doctor as it walks past her. So like, it's kind of like a little Slender Man fake out. But then now she's back in her sister's room and she seems dead. Her face is like twitching unnaturally. Then there's another weird freaky sequence that could give you a seizure. Honestly, it's just way too much. And it like, I kind of liked the shot of Hallie with all of her body parts spread out throughout the woods. That was kind of one cool effect in this weird like dream sequence that was kind of way too much. But then she leaves for a moment, then immediately runs back in because her sister is screaming again. Like it's just a lot of like leaving the room, then going back in. Something weird happens, leaving the room, coming back in. It's just like nothing is getting fixed. What's going on in your script, Derek?
It's so better.
Oh,
It's so
man,
much better.
please tell me.
So they're at the hospital. That all rings true. She had a massive panic attack. She's
Right.
not doing it good. The doctors are calling it a massive panic attack, but come on, Slender's got
Of course,
her.
Slender's got her for sure.
So she's walking through the halls like normal. She comes across a room with balloons that say Chloe on them.
Oh.
And we actually do see Chloe one more time. Chloe's
With her
face
messed up
is
eye?
completely bandaged.
Oh God.
She stands up, she looks at Hallie,
Yeah.
she smiles, takes the bandage off, two big gaping holes where her eyes are supposed to be.
That'd be so much cooler.
And her last line is,
Pull
I
it-
can still see.
Holy shit. That's wicked.
That's brutal.
That's good though.
That's
Like
brutal.
I'd be into that movie.
Yeah, man.
Good lord.
So then, but I mean,
Pulling
it's
the
all like
King
her
Lear
weird.
up in here.
It is like all her weird dreaming because then she goes back to Lizzie's room. Lizzie's freaking out. Her face is all like bruised up and messed up.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
she doesn't have eyes either.
Oh
So
man.
then she like wakes up and she's like panicking.
That's spooky. God, that's so much better.
Yeah, man.
So now back at home, and what's this? Little sis was on the same websites as Katie. And then, oh shit, Hallie finds out that after watching a video, we see that Ren is the one that brought Lizzie out into the woods. And so Hallie is pissed. So she goes to confront Ren. Nobody answers the door, so she lets herself in. She goes into Ren's room and finds this like obsessive research printed out all over the walls. It's like she's either hunting a serial killer or she is a serial killer. Like that kind of like level of insanity here, right? Then on Ren's computer, Hallie finds evidence that Ren was once in a mental institute and her username was Alley Cat. And this I dislike for two reasons. One, I hate when people be like, oh, she's a crazy character who's demented because she was at a mental institute one time. I really hate putting people who go to like institutions like that to seek help and they like put them in a bad light. I always hate when that happens.
Me too.
And two, her username on there was Alley Cat. And they don't really dwell on that for too long, but there was a scene where where Ren was having a conversation with Slenderman's receptionist at one point. Was she talking to herself? Did Slenderman steal her name? I don't understand why there was a connection there because they never dwell on the fact that Alley Cat is Ren.
Yeah.
It doesn't make any sense at all. And I really hate that they threw that in there.
Okay.
Yeah, okay.
Couple things have happened
Yes.
in the real script.
Yeah. The real script.
So Tom, the boyfriend who was
Yes.
freaking out,
Yes.
a little bit of a content warning for suicide.
Oh,
Please
man.
skip forward a little
Jeez,
bit
okay.
if you don't want to deal with this. So Tom,
Yes.
So Hallie shows up back at the school,
Mhm.
right? She's having a rough time. Why the hell would you go to school?
Of course, yeah.
We shoot to Tom standing on top of a tower.
Oh shit!
And he is screaming, he is freaking out, and he actually jumps.
Wow!
And takes his life.
So again, his character also gets some form of resolution.
Yeah,
because after we see him in the school in that one scene, we never see him again either.
Then, when this whole thing is going down about Ren being mental institution, that stuff's not in it.
I hated
That's
that.
not. I couldn't find anything about that,
which is good.
But what we did find out is Ren took Lizzie back to that forest,
Right.
and used her with Slenderman to be the sacrifice to bring
shit.
everybody back.
Yikes!
And we find that out. There's a video on that website or whatever that Hallie's watching,
Right.
And Ren is like, I had to sacrifice something you loved.
Mm-hmm.
She like whispers that to her.
Whoa,
That's insane.
That's nuts.
That's bonkers.
Basically being like, you're not taking this seriously enough, right?
Yeah.
I will do it for you to help you. Like, that's insanity right there. That works pretty well.
Yeah.
So now in this one, we find Ren is on the edge of her window about to jump to her death, and then Hallie stops her. Then Ren gets a phone call, and it's the same bullshit of like, the phone floating through the house up to her room. They lock the door like it's going to stop Slenderman. And he just like...
I mean, he can walk through doors, but
He
no big deal.
seeps through the bottom of it like a shadow, which was kind of a neat effect that I liked. And then, as they're like scared, not sure what to do, tree branches burst in through the windows and just like grab onto Ren and just yank her out of the window to her death. Kind of brutal. Probably one of the more brutal kills in the movie. Was that kind of how it happened
Keep
in
going.
that one? Okay,
I'll
yeah.
come back.
So now,
Because at this point, the movie's split and they're completely different.
whoa. Okay, so yeah, we'll get to the end here.
Let's resolve. We're at the end.
Yeah, so Hallie goes out into the woods, right? So I don't know, hunt down Slenderman. Like, she has no powers at her disposal. They've learned nothing that will help them. I don't know what she thinks is going to happen if she goes out there. But so Slenderman appears before her looking menacing. It's one of the best like full-on shots we get of like the practical effects of the Slenderman suit, because it is a practical suit. We haven't mentioned that.
So
It is
cool.
fantastic, and I really loved it for that. So he's like menacing. He's got his spooky tentacles. He's in his full glory. Kind of looks like a spider chasing after her, which is very creepy. And then she asks him to take her, assumedly like in place of her sister. But then she just runs away when he starts acting spooky. It's like, you asked him to basically kill you. Why are you running now? And so a big old tree grabs her with its elongating branches, completely covering her. And the tree kind of ends up looking like Slenderman himself with his cool tentacles and stuff. So then the tree pulls itself into her, holding her there, and then starts like absorbing her into the tree, killing her. And it's really like the only really decent kill in the movie. Like, all of the budget had to go right into that one scene, right? And then it fades away as she's like becoming part of the tree, screaming out for Lizzie. It fades away to her sister Lizzie coming to in the hospital. So she's okay now. And the way the movie ends is so just like,
It's awful.
It's lame.
It is so
it's just
bad.
really boring is how I would say. Because now the movie it ends as some like stupid narration of the sister that survived, talking about how messed up societies, spreading the word of Slenderman. Her literal line is, they're spreading his word. Like it was so, the delivery of it was terrible. It was a boring way to end the movie. I just really, really disliked it. And then roll the credits on that. So Derek, let's do the real one, shall we? Tell me all about how this movie ends.
It goes a little wild, man.
Yeah, so
Okay,
give it to me.
So there's something I don't really care for that they talked about at the beginning of the script and
Yeah.
then towards the end, that Slenderman has a quote unquote mansion.
What the fuck?
Yeah, he like has
mean,
a
that's-
mansion where he takes everybody.
That's where the receptionist lives,
yeah,
right?
I mean, I think it's fine.
Yeah.
So when they're
Welcome to Slender Manor.
so in this like website, right before she got pulled out of the window,
Yeah.
what actually happened is they found coordinates.
Okay.
And they look up those coordinates.
Yeah.
And there's a big, like, broken down mansion in the middle of the forest that they kept going to.
okay.
They go to said forest. So this is Ren and Hallie.
It's like a cool idea for a set. Doesn't really make sense for Slender Man as a character.
No, it kind of seems. I'll give you my interpretation in a
Yeah,
second.
yeah.
So they head off, right? They're like, we're going to go get her back. We're going to go. Of
course.
We're going to go there and see if Katie's there, because they
course.
still don't know where Katie is. So they show up to the mansion, and lo and behold, there's Katie.
Okay.
What then proceeds, and I'm not going to go into detail because it's a lot.
Really?
Yeah. But basically what happens is there's this huge scene very reminiscent of the game.
Okay.
Where they are walking through the forest, they are finding things.
See, that
there
is
are
something
creatures.
that this movie was missing, right? I know
Yes.
it started off as like an internet creepypasta, but then I think the game really helped popularize it too. There is none of that in this movie whatsoever, but apparently in the script.
Yes, this could have been so good.
God, that would have been so
because
cool.
down to almost, they're not finding pages, but
Right.
they basically are.
Like putting
right?
together the clues,
They're
right?
putting together clues. They have found this mansion. The Slenderman starts chasing them them down.
God.
Katie is there possessed, right? And so essentially what ends up happening,
Yeah.
they find Katie, they're going through her, she's dead at this point.
Of course,
I mean,
yeah.
like they can't bring her back.
No.
Hallie and Ren are there. And you don't really find, this is kind of where I feel like the script kind of fell off a little bit for me, because you don't really find out what happened. It basically says that, no, this is what I was going to talk about.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Up close. So Ren is gone. Katie is gone. It's just Hallie.
It's just Hallie now.
Hallie falls to the ground. There's tendrils entering the frame like some kind of grasping vine made of translucent flesh.
Okay.
The tendril plays around Hallie's face, finally touching her cheek like a caress. This close, Hallie can recognize that Slenderman's suit isn't a suit. His tie isn't a tie. This suit is mottled flesh. This tie is just a smear of reddish liquid where his face should be, is a roiling mass of unknown substance.
And that is one of my favorite things about the design of Slenderman in this movie, because he's not just like a slender man in a suit. It is like literally the folds of his flesh and the coloration of it form the shapes of a suit and tie, which is really, really cool as far as the design goes.
So Katie and Ren were basically taken by him at this point.
Right.
And now Hallie is seeing all of this. She sees a blinding amount of light, and then you see the mansion disappear in the forest. The forest is left all alone. And time skip.
Whoa.
Now you're in Lizzie's bedroom.
Okay.
Lizzie is making a
So
missing...
she's okay now.
Lizzie is fine.
Yeah.
Lizzie, because Hallie was sacrificed for Lizzie.
Right.
in
That
this
makes sense.
situation,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
So now you're in Lizzie's bedroom months later at the night, and she's designing a missing poster for her sister. You then hear Hallie's voice calling to Lizzie from the backyard.
Whoa.
But there's nobody there. And then you hear the bell.
Oh,
And that's how the movie ends.
That's a lot better. Absolutely. Because, I guess we forgot to mention, any time Slenderman is appearing in a scene, there's like this like bell chime, like this, like the hitting of this big old bell.
And something that happened throughout the movie, throughout the script, which I didn't really care for, but could have been a cool idea. It did that one missed call thing where their phones would keep going off with a chime similar to the bell.
That's not my ringtone.
That's not my phone.
Buh, 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 buh.
Anyway, that's good Slenderman put up against bad Slenderman.
So,
Dude, that movie could have been so much
It
better.
really could have. God, yeah. Like it was kind of fun doing this like script to script comparison, because you could see the movie that could have been.
Yeah.
That's insane to me. Wow. So, do we want to discuss our
Sorry,
expectations?
this episode
here?
went so long today.
Yeah,
guys.
no, it was kind of fun to
We did
dig
two
into
movies
this
at
one
once.
here.
Yeah, let's.
I mean, really
expect-
though.
Yeah.
So expectations for me, I said worse than the first time, and I said surprisingly just on par with our very first watch. I didn't like it any more or any less after this viewing. I just felt exactly the same. Although I really wish I had watched that version of the movie now.
No, me too.
I would have liked that.
Oh
one.
yeah, no, I'm right there with you. I said I would like it more, and I like it the same.
Yep.
I do
Literally
not feel
same
anything
way.
different. The only thing I feel now is I wish it had been a different movie.
Yes, exactly. I said it'll be like seeing an old friend, and I have to say it was a little fun coming back to a movie that I remembered like 30% of. Like, a year isn't that long, but it was enough to make me forget a lot and admittedly get a little excited about some of the sequences and dread some of the other ones.
Absolutely. I thought it would be funny this time around. No, this movie is void of any comedy possibility.
Yes, very much.
It is hard for us not to make fun of a movie, even movies we're enjoying. And I was like trying to make funny jokes.
Oh yeah, we were like forcing it. Exactly. I said Javier Botet King, and like I really don't think I'd have any praise for this movie at all were it not for Javier Botet and his incredible practical Slenderman suits,
The
and his
fleshy
makeup.
man.
The fleshy man.
Yeah,
really,
he was
really
awesome.
enjoyed it. Thank
Same.
you.
Same expectation.
Yep, same deal there. I said I bet I would forget a lot of this movie, and I certainly did. Like, it was all coming back to me like war flashbacks. You know, I forgot a lot for sure.
I said Joey King would be worse sometime. I actually think she was one of the better parts of this movie on the rewatch. Yeah, I thought she did fine. I think that the script did her no favors, or whatever script they ended up using did her no favors, but she was fine.
Yeah. And then I said it would be jump scare paradise, and this movie really made a mistake in thinking that Mr. Botet would not be enough to make for some good scares in this movie, because there were jump scares everywhere in this movie, even in places I don't think were even a scary part. They just littered them throughout the thing and kind of ruined it all. And I get that, like, you know, Slenderman is not used for very long sequences, but like there can be so much eeriness just using him without even the use of having so many jump scares. So yes, certainly a jump scares paradise.
Yeah, absolutely. And I said even less scares. I mean, by that I meant like I would be less scared through this movie. I don't really know what kind of an expectation that was because this movie just isn't scary.
No, absolutely not.
Surprises?
I said I'm surprised that I didn't like it or hate it any more than I did a year ago. It holds up exactly as well as it did the last time I watched it. Because I feel like after given some time and a second viewing of a movie, I usually have some different opinions. I usually will lean more one way or the other, either cemented and like, wow, I really didn't like it, or like, oh, you know, maybe I've come around to this one. Time has done it well. But yeah, it was just literally the same in my mind.
Yeah, for sure.
We watched some of the behind the scenes, and the practical Slenderman suit just really impressed me. And I was so sad to see such great craftsmanship gone to waste in a movie with 8% on Rotten Tomatoes with such a great creature actor, Javier Botet. Really, really impressed me. But yeah, just again, the suit was fantastic. Really loved that one. The dialogue was definitely worse than I remembered. I feel like the first time we watched it, we didn't have the subtitles.
No, we
So
didn't.
this time around, I was really able to scrutinize like every horribly written line.
It'd be better if that cat exploded.
Honestly, oh God, I didn't notice that the first time.
No,
That was
me
terrible.
neither. That line sucks.
And then my last surprise was just like it confused me more this time around. There were a lot of plot lines that kind of just like fizzled out with no
wrote that too.
resolution. Like everything that just happened was way too convenient that I couldn't believe it would happen naturally, right?
Yeah.
Like it was just so confusing. Why was Ren also Alley Cat? That was never explained. Like it was really, really bad.
Which again wasn't in the original script. That whole thing was bullshit.
Exactly, right?
So for me, the time flew by. I surprisingly wasn't actually bored.
Yes.
I mean, spoilers, I gave this movie a boreable rating, but I wasn't actually bored.
Yeah. I get what you're saying.
I don't even know. Yeah. The scenes of actual scares actually held up. Like in the hallway of the hospital, I still like that scene.
Yeah, in the library too.
In the library.
With the chips.
They were better than I remembered.
Yeah.
And I think they are held at a higher regard for me because the movie itself is so low.
Yes.
Still had really bad acting. The acting just
didn't change.
Yeah. How much the original script was superior.
Good
this
Lord,
is probably
it was so
my
much better.
biggest surprise ever.
Yeah.
I'm
You really struck gold with that one.
blown away. Dude, I was cheering.
I feel like
I
feel like it's been everything is all worth it now because I now know that movie and I pieced together a good movie in my head.
No, exactly. There's and my final one is how many holes there were.
Yes.
And that's what I was about to talk about. Like, there are so many moments in this movie that, like, you just hit skip on the remote.
And it is insane how much, like, the script that you found literally fills almost all of those holes.
Every single hole. Like Chloe, like Tom.
Exactly.
Like, even at the end, or, like, Lizzie going crazy.
Exactly,
like, it's
right?
It all makes sense.
It totally tracks all
What's
of
your
that.
score?
For me, my verdict also same with you. I'm going that was boreable. This movie, it starts drab and then it runs dry throughout its entirety with like a couple of fun scares from the Slenderman itself. But like since he's a character that only shows up for brief moments at a time for a quick kill, he's not enough to save the movie from, making me dread how much longer is left in the film. So like definitely bonus points for the practical Slenderman effects, but still a no for me. This is definitely boreable and dragged.
So that was boreable. It's unfortunate that the changes happened with the Slenderman script. The bad pacing, uneven story, and poor scares really did not help the less than good performances of the leads. I hoped that with friends around, this one would be more entertaining, but it is far more boring than funny and more bland than scary.
Honestly, though, I feel like when we were like chatting with our friends while watching this one, it was like we would get away from the movie ourselves with like our hilarious whatever we were doing, right? It's like we couldn't even focus on the movie when we were trying to create our own fun, right?
For sure.
Because I think whenever we do this, like laughing with the movie, this one is like we're doing our own thing at this point to entertain ourselves.
So keep your viewing list slender, man, and watch something else.
Hey, that's pretty good. That's pretty good.
All right.
Hey, that is pretty good, Derek.
Trivia!
I like that one. Hey,
Trivia! Did you know
it is
you're
me.
almost 1 year old?
I am almost a year old. I can almost drive. I can almost rent a porta potty. I can almost eat dry ice.
In like 8 episodes, you'll be 1 year old.
This is a great honor to me. It has been a wonderful time to get to spend it with you.
You'll get time to talk about it in 8 episodes.
Okay, well,
Keep doing your job.
I prepared a speech. Fine, fuck you, Derek. Take your cards. I'm running away. No. So trivia for this one: the tall doctor at the hospital, the one that Hallie saw in that in the hallway, was actually It is 6 foot 8.5 inch tall actor Javier Botet, who
He's
also
so tall.
portrayed the Slender Man, right? And I thought that was kind of funny because they were definitely doing like a Slender Man fake out there, but they were literally using the actor that portrayed the character, which I thought was really fun.
Yeah, that was cool.
Hallie and Lizzie's last name is the same as the real last name of the original
Knudsen.
creator of Slender Man, right? Eric Knudsen, who goes by the pen name Victor Surge. But I thought that was kind of neat.
Yeah.
The Slender Man, just a little background on Slender Man as a character here, because we didn't really get into that much. The Slender Man first appeared on the Something Awful forums in a series of photographs edited to depict a tall, humanoid entity unnoticed by other people in the image, but almost always surrounded by or in close proximity to children. So, like, children were particularly at risk then. Since then, many have speculated inspiration and origin of Slender Man in popular media, folk tales, and ghost stories from hundreds of years ago. The earliest being a reference to Der Großmann in a German folk story written in 1702. But actually, there is no German folk story that is called Der Großmann, which would translate to the tall man. So it's all bullshit, but that's kind of like where it started, right? Most movie theaters in Wisconsin refused to show the movie, saying that it was insensitive to the terrible events,
Yeah, we
right?
already talked about
Didn't
that for
portray
sure.
actual events, right? So like, yeah, it was a scary time for like lots of reasons. According to various sources in the similar vein, Sony Pictures became very nervous about the film closer to the release, and in result removed many scenes from the final cut.
There it
This
is.
could explain the film's abrupt ending and its depiction in the trailers of being very different kind of film. Because apparently there were things in the trailer that I didn't even notice,
Yeah.
like Chloe and Tom die in the trailer.
Oh.
But neither death appears in the movie. I didn't know that. I didn't remember that.
didn't
I'm going to
know
go back
either.
and watch
Yeah,
the trailer,
no, me
right? Because
too.
apparently those were just
Well,
cut.
back then we weren't watching trailers before we watched the movie.
Exactly,
We
right?
just jumped in.
And this time we didn't watch a trailer either because we're like, well, we already know what the movie is, right? Yeah. So yeah, that's your trivia. That is your trivia. Thank you very much. I will see you all next week to tell you all about the trivias, and then no, not next week. In a couple episodes to celebrate my birthday.
Wow, can we celebrate my birthday too?
You can celebrate yours in another fucking 5-6 episodes, whatever. It's not your time.
You're only three. You're only 3 episodes
You can't
older than
even
me.
count, and you call yourself a scientist.
You're the count.
I do count. I do count. I like to count. I like to count rice, particularly.
Bleh. Bleh.
Come here, you. I'll kill you.
All right.
You guys
two.
take
you go.
take it out of here.
We've
Come on,
gone
guys.
too long.
Join us next week for a probably much shorter episode. Not quite so long. We won't be celebrating and having so much.
celebration.
It's 1
Mazel
year,
tov.
guys. Thank you so much for. I don't know what to say. I don't have enough to say to thank you all for listening. Here's to 1 year, and here's to many
Yeah.
more after that. So
Super excited for this year.
yeah, but if you've enjoyed listening, join us next week. We are going to be watching Popcorn. I know I've said that the past 2 episodes. Now for real, we're gonna do it, guys. We're gonna
Oh, wait,
watch
but
Popcorn
Isaac-
from 1991.
Next week is that one thing.
It's President's Day. No, that's this week. No, we're watching Popcorn. We're going to do it. 1991 sitting at a 38%. Hopefully it'll be a better time. That's
Hopefully
a
we
little high.
can actually watch.
It's a little high for our ranking, right? But if you love our podcast and like to support us, please go follow us on all of our socials, like, rate, and subscribe, all the fun things. Find us on Instagram at that_was_horrible, Twitter at TWH Podcast, Facebook at That Was Horrible Podcast, YouTube at That Was Horrible, and TikTok at That Was Horrible. At this point, if it's a social media site, you can find us at That Was Horrible, and we should pop up, right?
Yeah, we have established a year's presence everywhere.
That's insane.
So
That's
we're there.
That's wild. We did it, Derek. We have a podcast.
Oh man,
That's kind of great.
You want to do a few more of these?
A few more what?
I don't know, just like episodes.
Oh, a few more episodes. Yeah, I think we can do a couple more. You want to meet
Yeah.
same time next week and
Yeah,
do another
same time
one
next week.
You guys okay with that? That
you
sounds
guys
cool.
cool with that?
You guys
Sweet.
are you guys cool with that?
Well,
Got
Oh,
one more
man.
reference in there.
Oh man,
And then Frankie Spider skitters across the.
I'm a spider.
It's Frankie Spider.
Oh,
Oh,
shoot ya.
I will kill you, you spider. You
Oh,
kill you.
it's me.
And crash
I'm the
into on me
fly.
to get you.
I'm
And the flies
Buzz,
back.
buzz,
Buzz,
buzz, buzz. I'm gonna get away.
Gooper's here too. The whole crowd is here to tell you goodbye. Gooper says
Hey,
goodbye.
Garfield be with
Garfield be with you. Stay
Stay
spooky.
you. Goodbye.